starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
Well, hello and welcome in. It's my first time being here
Hey!
with the new table.
Wow.
It looks nice.
It does.
Welcome to Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. We got a fun show for you guys today. And before we get into this show, I do want to apologize publicly to Casey for the miscommunication yesterday. So, Casey, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're feeling better. Once again, I'm sorry I'm a turd burglar and just gave you an incredibly terrible text.
No, it's all good, brother.
Okay.
It's all good. We're all good. We're here.
We're here. I'm
we're
glad
ready
you're,
to roll.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Elliot Rearing, Jacob Tissett, Jimmy
See,
Collins.
when you start naming names, when you start naming it, you're talking bull junk over there. It's hard when you start rattling them all off all together in the morning.
I've
never
never
messed
if you
him up.
forget me, I'm going to give you crap.
You are the most forgettable.
It is.
That's fair.
True.
That's fair. It
You are the
happens.
most forgettable here. I'd never messed it up until I sat over there. So I'm blaming the producer's chair that is making me forget everyone's names. But it is Jacob Tissett.
It
So
is.
Thank you for being here, Jacob.
Of course.
Thank you for
Happy to be here.
It's like it's your job.
Yeah.
It's like it's your
It
job. But the Reds
Hey,
lost another one.
whoopsie.
They get right back on the horse tonight, tomorrow?
Tonight.
Yeah, get right back on the horse for a 4-game tilt against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Lou, as they
As
call it.
many people in St. Louis call them.
As everyone calls
Skipping
it.
that.
The Lou.
Skip the Lou.
That's why we call here our hometown the Sin. The Sin. The city of Sin.
Sin City.
Sin City.
Casey, how was your long vacation? I joke. I was also out for a week due to illness. Was it the same illness that I gave? Did I give you this illness? Because I'm starting to think that's what
I
happened.
think there was enough dead period in between there that you're vindicated.
I don't know. It lingers around the office.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Jimbo over here is dealing with something very similar. It was just a lot of like sinus issue and like just not feeling.
No fever though.
No.
Okay, so it wasn't my illness. That's good. Because I was somewhat worried it was my illness that lingered around this office.
Oh, you definitely got him sick, and now Casey's getting Jimmy sick.
And then Jimmy's gonna get you sick.
I don't get sick.
I'm immune.
And then Jacob's immune.
I
He took the
cannot
vax.
wait for Jimmy to say that he's going to miss a day of work, and I'm saying, well, you got to be back 2 days later, when I don't mean that, because that's what happened last time. And once again, I feel bad. I feel bad for that miscommunication. I cannot tell you how terrible I felt when I saw Casey in here fighting for his life, battling this illness. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, you told me to be here. And I'm like, well, oop.
I guess I did.
As Elliot said 2 minutes ago, whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
That's an oopsie.
Accidents happen.
But we've got a fun show for you guys today. We're going to talk about the Reds. They lose a series. We're going to get them back on the horse against the Cardinals, I guess, because that's all you can do, is they got a 4-game tilt. We're going to grade. We are at the exact mid-season point.
Yes.
So we are going to grade a slew of players and be the teachers. Give them a report card on how they've done for the first half of the season. We're going to talk. The NBA draft happened last night, so I'm sure we'll have some things. Some news came out about the UC Bearcats and how they've fared athletically this past season. Does it put John Cunningham on the hot seat? That much and more. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great. By the way, before we start, before we get to headlines, I have 2 quick topics. Casey, your Twitter account was very active this past week.
That's true.
What was going on there?
And what happened to Amelia Earhart?
What happened to Amelia Earhart?
I think that I was so sick and so loopy that I just had to get some things off my mind, and Twitter's the best place to do that. It's my therapy, and I just let it rip.
What was your
Let it rip like
What
Beyblade.
was your favorite episode of Fanboy and Chum Chum?
Honestly, I have no idea what that is.
Well,
Not
you're
even
the one that
a-
mentioned it.
You tweeted it.
I did.
That cough syrup must have been really strong. What was your favorite tweet that you authored this past week?
My favorite tweet probably was the stinky feet of Acosta, PU. They smell horrible. You could smell them from all the way outside the stadium.
Wow.
My favorite was when you got mad at the news. You said, every time I turn on the news, it makes me mad. Grr, news. Grr. I'm mad at you, news. #RAR. And then you followed up, same tweet, same thought apparently. Anyways, anyone got a remedy for smelly feet? I've got a problem. #PU.
Yeah, maybe my smelly feet are actually the problem and not actually Acosta's feet. Who knows? The other favorite one was the Beyblades one.
Let it rip.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, let's duel. Yu-Gi-Oh references, I love that. My favorite.
It's good.
That was a
Great.
good one because at the end you pondered on what happened to Amelia Earhart. That was
What?
the final hashtag
Yeah.
of that tweet.
What did happen to her?
That's what we're trying to
what we're
figure
trying to
out.
figure
Got
That's what
eaten
you're
by-
trying to
she
figure
got
out.
eaten by those crabs, is what I think.
Crabs.
Right before headlines, Readeroo, we have to now do it every single Thursday. We're going to recap your night, baseball-wise.
Yeah,
the Cable Dodgers.
the Cable
Reed
Dodgers.
came in this morning with a little skip in his step, and he said, you know what, guys? The Cable Dodgers are the second-best team in the league.
We are in second place in the Cincinnati Adult Baseball League. Game behind the lead. Got 2 wins last night. I hit a ball to the fence. It was great. It was a great
Double?
Extra base hit?
extra base. I smoked it.
Well,
Ball to the fence. We don't know.
What do you think? I'm slow?
I was
Well, I
just-
saw those numbers. A lot of singles.
Well, that's not because. Trust me, it's not because of the speed.
Okay, fair
it's
enough.
not because of the speed. I don't think.
Fair enough.
I don't think Jake Fraley's not getting extra base hits because he can't scoot around the
That's
base
true.
paths.
That's true.
But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We got a big one on Sunday.
who were the
against
teams you
Yankees.
played? Who's the team you played?
We played a team. They were called the CC Reds.
That's right.
They were called the CC Reds. I showed up and I said, "Hey, what's the CC stand for?" And the guy looked at me and said, "Well, we're wearing City Connect jerseys." And I was like, probably could have figured that one out.
That adds up.
We also played the Flying Tigers.
Really?
Did
Yeah.
they fly?
They have not won a game this year.
Did you mercy roll them, run roll them?
Actually, they did not. To be honest, we didn't even play a real game because they didn't have enough players show up. So the second game of the doubleheader was a
no.
forfeit, but we played for like 4 innings, just a scrimmage.
Nice.
And yeah, it
Oh,
was fun.
no.
But
They
Flying
should have
Tigers.
called me up.
If you would have got, yeah, would have
They
been
should have
great.
called me up. Chase Wellman says he bets you to get an extra base hit plus 2,000.
Well, could win. That's a good win.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous value.
20-1 on me getting an extra base hit. Come
yeah.
on, it's not that bad.
It was great. For those who wonder or are curious about my trivia team, and those on the radio, I'm sure many of you are. My trivia team, we came in 4th place last night. We were in second heading into the final question, and I think 3 teams cheated to win, and we lost.
What was the final question?
It was you had to match soups with their country of origin.
Okay.
So the soups were miso, which is Japan.
Japan,
Then it was gumbo, which is America.
right?
There was minestrone, which was Italy.
Yep.
And then there was one from France, which I've never heard of in my entire life. And the final one, I still don't even know where it was from. We never got that one, so we put 0, and we lost the final wager. My
Didn't
trivia
you
team
cheat
lost.
last night, though?
No, I did not cheat.
How do you know that?
It was
you cheated?
it was a phone a friend.
Okay. Okay.
That's very much in the rules.
Okay. Fair enough.
I used to
am
get
not-
those phone of friends. Now I just want to be a part of something again.
Well, you play baseball, so I knew I couldn't get an answer from you. So I was going for my hockey guy, and I texted Jacob. I was never going to cheat and look up the answer, but what I did was I texted Jacob. I said, "Hey, who's a player that's won the MVP in the NHL twice?" And Jacob gave me a name. That's a phone a friend.
That works.
Phone a friend.
Just making sure we're all above board here.
That's correct. I do not cheat. Cheating is wrong. Game day cheating. I agree. Game day. It is asinine.
It's ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 11, as
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith would say, who put on a clinic last night at the NBA draft. He gave out so much knowledge on all these players.
30 picks. He knew 5 of them?
Did he know 5 of them before the
No.
before prep for the draft? Like he knew who Zach Edey is.
Right.
I feel like
That might be it.
I again, obviously you have to televise it, but I feel like you should have gotten somebody who knew a little bit of basketball instead of Stephen A. Smith.
Jay
Just
Billis
a
does a good
hunch.
job. Jay Billis does a good job.
Jay Billis did a fine job. Stephen A. I watched 3 seconds of that draft, and again, the very first thing that he said was, "I don't know who this is, but I'm sure he'll be great."
Not great.
You can't have that kind of analysis when you're doing an NBA draft. I had no idea that there was an NBA draft last night until Jacob told me. It was on none of the TVs at the bar I was at, obviously, because who cares about the NBA draft? It was just, I think if you had to rank all the drafts between the NBA and the NFL, because those are the two big ones, they get the most views.
You said all the leagues?
All the leagues, meaning the two biggest ones that people care about the drafts. Out of those two leagues, that had to have been the worst draft ever. Had to have been.
It's down.
Yeah,
there.
What's
the
a
NBA
worse
draft,
draft?
The NBA draft used to be bigger than the NFL
Yes.
draft.
Oh,
It
yeah.
used to be much bigger because, I mean, you knew the college basketball players more, and they normally had been at their school for 3-4 years. Now it's just is what a lot of people from overseas. So guys that you literally have never seen before.
That's relatively new. They've always
Last
drafted guys.
decade
from
or
That's where
But it's-
people are having discourse about maybe here in America. Is it a product of overseas just getting into the game of basketball more, and they're doing it more at a younger age, so now we're seeing more players come from there? Or do we have a problem with amateur basketball here in America? And it's probably somewhere in between the two. Probably the AAU scene, probably the way that we go about playing basketball for amateurs here in America isn't lending itself to creating the best possible players, because the league is becoming very foreign, I guess is the best word.
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and then the number 1 and number 2 draft picks this season are from France. So it'll be interesting in a couple of years how that French national team looks. They might be one of the best in the country or in the world.
What were the MVP candidates like? The top two
Right.
were not from America as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy how different the league has gone. But that's okay. I mean, it's
Because those people in those countries are playing professional basketball at 13, 14.
Well, that's
15.
right. That's the other
so
part of
that's where people are talking about is the fact that they're playing basketball against men
Right.
when they're 15 years old. Does that get them more ready? And do we ever think that there might be a time where top prospects here in America go play men overseas before getting to the NBA?
And the top players drafted from America, at least for the most part, are G League players.
That's what I was going to say. That's like, when does that happen?
Modest Pazules and Ron Holland.
It's
remember when
the
the
guys leaving college early or not
that
even
and that
not
team,
even
the
going
G League
to
Ignite
college
went like
and then just
19
going
and
straight to the
40
league.
this year.
You remember when the G
Yeah.
League started? Because it started as a way to circumnavigate college so that you could get paid to play, and everyone's like, this will never work, this will fail, and it is working. It is.
G League Ignite is done.
Okay.
Last year was their last year.
Okay.
But
Well,
you'll still be able
the
to go to
players
the
have
minor
still
league
popped
team.
up,
The-
right.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, that's it. We're going to get into headlines coming up next. We thank you. It's a beautiful day. I was driving in this morning. Absolutely phenomenal. Window down, felt great. But saying that, we will be right back. Those of you listening in your car right now, we thank you very much. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We are Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers. We will be right back. And welcome on in. Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports. I am Elliot Rearing, Jacob Tissett, Reed Mouse, Jimmy Collins, Casey McAllister. Bang. Got it.
Good work.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, now it's everybody's favorite segment. It's time for the headlines. What did you miss in sports last night? Well, it's the middle of June, so you missed nothing. But I'm going to read them anyway. It's my favorite time of the day.
The draft happened last night. Eventful. It was an eventful mid-summer.
Did anybody care about it?
Nope.
Nobody cared about it.
France
Did care about it.
France did care.
France did care about it. The Reds, if you missed yesterday's game because you were at work or because you were tired of watching them,
Good
the
for
Reds,
you.
they won another series opener and they lost yet another series. That is the, count 'em, 9th time they have won the opening game of a series and have lost the series. Brutal. Graham Ashcraft threw 5 1/3 innings, allowing 9 hits, 1 walk, 6 earned runs. It's the most runs given up by him all season. But hey, welcome back, buddy. Just in time for bobblehead night. That should be in, I think, against the Tigers. Jimmy's going to that game.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. If Graham Ashcraft can give up 6 runs a game until then, maybe he won't be still here. We'll see. Jonathan India, he reached base 11 straight times during yesterday's game. Obviously, that number ended, but he did get to 11 straight consecutive days getting on base. 11 straight times getting on base. That is, sorry. He added 2 more hits with another double and a run batted in. That's our guy, Jonathan India. I think he's hitting 700 over
Did
his
he
last.
really
11
reach
straight
base?
plate appearances?
11
Oh, yeah.
straight plate
yeah.
appearances. He reached on a board?
Because he
Or was
got-
it 11 straight games?
No, 11 straight plate appearances because it was 2 times yesterday, it was 4 times the night before, and then it was again the time before, I believe. That.
Wow.
I'm almost
That's
almost certain.
I mean, he went 2 for 4 2 nights ago. So there's no way 11 straight.
So 11 straight days then? Somebody researched that. I saw the stat. Somebody tweeted it yesterday. I saw the
The
stat.
Reds
The
tweeted
Red-
Jonathan India has reached base safely in 11 straight plate appearances.
Boom. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe they were joshing around. I don't know. I was just
I'm doing math right now, and it's not mathing.
I was just
Unless they were fielder's choices.
I was just reading.
Huh?
I was just reading what the broadcast was telling me to say. So if the broadcast of Bally Sports was incorrect, that's my fault for reading into it. Continuing on though, Nick Martini and Stuart Fairchild, they contributed the other 2 hits. Good for them. Nobody cares. Luis Ortiz threw a gem, going 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and 1 earned run, striking out 7 of our Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have now lost 10 of 15 games after winning 7 in a row. This is one of the big concerns I had going into this year. It's the inconsistency factor. I remember telling Jacob during that 7-game winning streak, if they match it with an equally bad stretch, we've accomplished nothing.
Right.
And by the grace of God, they've done it. They have lost 10 of 15 games to follow up their 7-game win streak, wiping it out completely. The Reds are back at it tonight, though, to start a 4-game set with the St. Louis Cardinals, who have won 10 of their last 14. Andrew Abbott will take on Miles Mikolas. Both pitchers are 6-6 on the season. Andrew Abbott has a 3.40 ERA with 70 strikeouts and a 1.18 whip. Miles Mikolas is rocking with a 4.68 ERA and 67 strikeouts and a 1.16 whip. That's it for the Cincinnati Reds, mercifully. Oh, and Noelvi Marte is coming back today, so good for Noelvi.
We hope.
We hope. As long as the training staff didn't injure him on the way here to St. Louis. Around the league, Mariners, they defeat the Rays 5-2. Brother of Nick, George Kirby, threw 6 innings, allowing 4 hits and 1 earned run, striking out 7 Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays stink, right? The Rays are bad?
The Rays might be bad.
The Rays might be bad. Phillies, they humiliate the Detroit Tigers once again, 6-2. Brandon Marsh had 4 hits, including a home run, driving in 4 runs. Jimmy! Go Tigers, go! Here they come.
Yeah, they lost. They never really had any chance. They did a bullpen day yesterday to give themselves a better chance to win today against the Angels. Because that always works out great. We'll see. But yeah, it was a boring game. Yeah, not much you can
Not much to say.
say.
Very sad. Similarly to the Reds.
Disappointing loss.
Do we find the math on the India thing? Was
Yeah,
the
11 straight
broadcaster-
is correct. 11 straight is correct.
Was it really?
Yeah, 11 straight times on base. That's an incredible run.
I think
Truly
he
incredible.
lost it in like his 3rd at bat yesterday.
Yeah, it's a truly. Yeah, it's exactly right. 11 straight. I did not believe that. Yeah.
Okay.
Incredible.
All right. So that was right. Braves, they took game 1 against the Cardinals 6-2 in their doubleheader. Cardinals took one back, winning 4-1 in the night game. Astros, they destroyed the Rockies 7-1. Spencer Arrighetti threw 7 innings of shutout baseball while striking out 10 Colorado Rockies. The Brewers, they win another game. They beat the Rangers 6-5 to complete the sweep of the World Series champs. The return of Dallas Keuchel went about as expected, going 4 innings, allowing 8 hits, 5 earned. Did not throw a pitch faster than 90 miles an hour?
Correct.
How about that? Good for Dallas Keuchel.
We need Dallas.
Was he a
Keuchel.
Red? He was a Red for a little bit, right?
I don't think so. Was
No? I thought he was on the Reds for a little bit. He might have not played. I thought the Reds signed him and maybe got hurt. I don't know what happened there. I could be wrong. It was Andrew Monasterio who was the hero in the bottom of the 10th, walking it off to sweep the Rangers. Royals, they beat the Mariners 5-1. Brady Singer has a 3.12 ERA on the season. He went 7 1/3, allowing 1 earned. Angels beat the Athletics 5-2. The A's have dropped 5 in a row, 15 of 18. Padres beat the Nationals 8-5. Reed, you have to pronounce this one. Higashioka? Is that right? Higashioka? Higashioka hits 2 home runs, including his first career grand slam. Dylan Cease tossed 7 shutout innings, striking out 9. Orioles win 4-2 over the Guardians. Mets blow out the Yankees 12-2. They lose 21-4 in the Subway Series. But Aaron Judge added 2 more hits and a walk yesterday, including another home run. He has 30 home runs and 77 runs batted in at the midway point. He has reached base safely in 37 of his last 39 games.
Pretty good.
Good at baseball.
Pretty good.
I gotta scrub the Twitter from some 2017 Aaron Judge takes because I've never been more wrong in my life about Aaron Judge. Although it is a shame that he came up so late that we don't get to see him generate some serious career numbers because he's already 32, 33 years old. So
True.
Tough. Dodgers shut out the White Sox 4-0. Shohei Ohtani mashed another home run to lead off a game. He now has 25 home runs. The Twins, they blow out the Diamondbacks 8-3, and the Cubs stink. They lose 4-3. They get swept by the Giants. Cubs have lost 9 of their last 13.
did you see Shohei's quote yesterday?
No.
Said without pitching, he's been able to become a better hitter because he's focusing on it more.
Really?
Is he going to pitch ever again? Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I hope so because it's awesome when he pitches.
You almost have to if you're the Dodgers to make that contract make sense.
Yeah.
They're incentivized to have him pitch.
Right. Yeah. No. He's gonna throw in some capacity. It would be cool if he became the closer. That would be really neat. Although I still want to see him throw 200 innings every year. I think it'd be cool to see him play right field and then just come in the game in the 9th inning. That'd be so awesome.
Who wins the battle of last place in the NL Central, the Cubs or the Reds?
We were talking about this before. Just before the show when we said that if you asked a lot of people before the season who you had winning the NL Central, and maybe that's just because of the vacuum that I hear being a Cubs fan and being in Cincinnati, that almost everyone selected those two teams to win the NL Central, and almost everyone said the Brewers going to fall off. Man, oh man, we're at the midpoint of the season, and 0 for 3 there.
Looking like the same as ever.
0 for 3 there, so fun for that.
Fun for that. NBA draft, we talked about it a little bit to start the show, but here we go. Here are the picks. Zachary Risache,
Yes.
boom, went first overall to the Atlanta Hawks. Alex Sarr went to the Wizards, second overall. Reed Shepard out of Kentucky went third to Houston. Stephon Castle went from UConn, went fourth to Popovich and the Spurs. Ron Holland went to the Pistons with the 5th overall pick. Some other notable names that were drafted: Donovan Clingan out of UConn, the big man. He went to the Blazers with the 7th overall pick. Zach Edey, our good friend Zach Edey out of Purdue, went 9th overall to the Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Edey, top 10 pick.
Yeah, who would have thought?
A lot of
Who would've
talent.
thought?
A lot of talent.
I think I said that at some point during basketball season. We were talking about Zach Edey and his candidacy to be an NBA player that I certainly thought he was a first-round pick. I don't think many people saw him being a top 10 pick. My favorite quote, and I brought this up on the show before, is Dan Hurley talking about Zach Edey, and he said point blankly, he said, if you can't make Zach Edey work in the NBA, you're probably playing basketball wrong, and I still hold that true. Zach Edey is very athletic. I think he certainly has a role. Do I think he's going to be a star? I don't think so. I don't think anybody assumes that. But if you can't make Zach Edey work in some capacity in the NBA, then maybe you are doing the game wrong because he's athletic, he's tall, he's big, he's strong. You can make him work in some capacity.
Yeah, I just don't know if that game, his specific game, works in the NBA really anymore.
But it should. That's
But
what
it
he's saying.
should,
Like,
yeah,
it doesn't
Right, like
matter,
you can form some way around it. Like what wins in the NFL is normally a pocket passer, but if you have a special talent, you form the game around him.
Sure. The NBA, but I will say this. I think he shot 1 3-pointer in college. I think he made it. 1 3-pointer in college and didn't really shoot outside of the paint. So
I don't think he has to shoot. I think that's the point.
I know,
I think they can figure out a way putting bodies on the floor.
That's fair.
And forming sets around him to score.
That's fair. Jared McCain from Duke went to the Sixers at 16. He likes to sing the songs, I believe. That's the guy
He
who
likes to
TikTok
sing
star.
and do the dances.
You know that's
He's 2 days from college.
He is.
3
That's that
lectures
one.
behind.
That's him.
That's him.
The Lakers.
I love
they
that song.
I like it too. The Lakers skipped on Bronny James, and they went Dalton Connect out of Tennessee with the 17th overall pick. Bronny didn't respond with anything other than a couple of pictures of him and his dad doing some windmill dunks.
Dalton Connect was plus 3,500 to go 17 to the
Really?
Lakers. Yeah, he was projected to be a top 10 pick and basically a top 15 pick as the floor in basically every mock draft. Absolute steal for the Lakers. I think he's going to be great there.
No Bronny. You concerned Bronny's not going to get drafted?
Not
do you
at
think-
all. Not at all.
What do you think about the Dalton Connect Reeves duo?
I think it could be fun. They're both good on-ball scorers. They both can score off the dribble and catch and shoot. So we'll see what happens. Connect seems like a guy that plays well with LeBron or would play well with LeBron. You always want someone who can spot up and shoot threes, and LeBron can just drive and kick and, kind of lead the offense himself. And Connect played off ball a lot before he got to Tennessee. So I think it'd be a good pick there.
You had a lot of money on Bronny top 10, Bronny first round.
I sprinkled everything top 5, top 10, first overall, and then I had a decent chunk on first round. Obviously none of that hit, but the under 56, under 55 and a half. That's the doozy.
The Lakers 57.
Lakers
correct?
are 55.
Oh,
And the line is 55 and a half.
Oh, okay. So you're just betting if the Lakers are going to take
or
it.
the Knicks at 51 and the Mavericks at 54 also worked him out.
Because I'm gonna spoil tonight's draft. If he gets drafted, it's by the Lakers.
I don't know. I think the Mavericks definitely have some interest as well. But it's one of the two.
Only because drafting Bronny means you have a good shot at getting LeBron.
I don't think so. I don't think it matters.
Well,
I don't think LeBron's
I
leaving
disagree.
LA.
I think he's been talking about it for 10 years now that he wants to play with his son. That's the end game. Wants to do it. In January, he starts going, I don't know if I want to play with. I don't think that's what I want to do anymore. Stuff like that. I mean, you've been talking about it for 12 years, 10 years, LeBron, and I'm not buying it now that you're just going, now that he might get drafted, you're going to be like, I don't know. If it happens, it happens, but I'm not worried about it. It's LeBron, you are in the ear of Jenny Buss going like, get Bronny right now.
The NBA is also the king of marketing. They know how to market their stars. There would not be a more watched regular season NBA game than Bronny and LeBron in the same team.
Yeah. No, I think that's why I think the Lakers are going to take him.
It'd be like, as I just made fun of it, that's a very, very cool thing. We're talking Griffey Jr. and Griffey Sr., and now we're talking Bronny and Bronny.
It's pretty cool.
Bronny and Bronny. Deron Holmes out of Dayton. He goes to the Nuggets at 22. I forgot to mention this for the first overall pick. Former Kansas guard Frank Mason III on number one overall pick Zachary Rissache. Quote, played this young guy in France this past season. No way he's the number one pick in the NBA draft. LOL, but I guess.
Forgot about Frank Mason.
That's because he's playing overseas in France.
He was very good at Kansas.
Very good at Kansas. He hit the game-winning shot against somebody. I don't know who it was.
Player of the year, right?
I think so.
By the way, correcting Dallas Keuchel, as far as his baseball reference page says,
I thought he never played, but
I'm looking at all the teams he's been signed as a free agent. He doesn't have to play for the team. He just has to get signed. He's no affiliation with the Reds.
Okay, I was wrong.
According to this.
International Federation of American Football, they tweeted the final score as Japan was the first qualified team for the Under-20 World Championships final. They beat the United States 41-20.
Tough.
United States loses to Japan in American football. Oh.
But we have the Stanley Cup, so we're even.
We also got World War II, so
we did.
That's right.
We tied now?
Well,
is it
2-2?
I think we're down 2-1. Harbor, War.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now this one?
Harbor football. And we got 2.
Okay.
It's 2-2 at least.
Yeah.
3-2.
Yeah.
Soccer news to end the headlines. Georgia, the University of Georgia, shut out Portugal 2-0 in a game that Portugal didn't try in. But they advanced, so good for the University of Georgia. Czechia, I don't know how to pronounce it, loses 2-1 to Turkey. Okay, Slovakia and Romania, they draw at 1 apiece. And Ukraine and Belgium shut out each other, 0-0 draw. Thoughts on the 0-0 draw?
Seems like it's the most common thing in soccer, so let's do that soccer.
Soccer, baby. Woo!
Put me on pitch.
Copa. Copa. Venezuela beat Mexico 1-0, and Ecuador beat Jamaica, Yaman, 3-1. Thoughts on Jamaica?
Seems like a lovely place.
No thoughts on Jamaica. That's it. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We are late for a break. We are going to break right now. Thank you very much for listening wherever you are listening. And if you're on YouTube, obviously, we're staying right with you. Welcome back in. Elliot Rearing of Off the Bench with Reed Mouse, Jacob Tissett, Casey McAllister, Jimmy Collins, 2 in a row. Jacob, presented by United Dairy Farmers. I guess as we transition from the headlines to something, I guess we have to transition to the Reds. And I don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it. It's the job. So, Cincinnati Reds lose last night 6-1. They lose another series. This is brutal. I mean, this is what we knew was, at least what I knew was kind of what was going to happen. It's different from the stretch in May where we were losing to really good teams, and I mean, granted, they didn't look competitive whatsoever. The Reds' offense was so inept that you couldn't watch those games. It's a little bit different now. The inconsistencies somewhat allow the offense to show up. But I think that's also in part because they're playing teams that, quite frankly, just aren't very good. I mean, the Pirates, we can sit here and say whatever we want about the Pirates. Are they the second best team in the Central? Who cares? They're a fringe wild card team, and the Reds looked uncompetitive in the series. When you play the Boston Red Sox, as Jacob called them, they're the most mediocre team in baseball. They're the definition of 500. They're a fine team. They're playing hot. You played them maybe at the wrong time, but that's not a World Series contender. Not right now, at least. You play the Pirates, the Brewers. Again, the Brewers are a good team, so I guess I'll credit the Brewers, especially the Brewers at home. And the Guardians were fine. Cubs, you beat the Cubs. The Cubs, bad as the Reds.
Thanks.
So this is a stretch.
Worse.
This is just a stretch that I don't know if you can really climb yourself out of. I can only say you are who you are so many times. But until the lineup is healthy, until the roster is who Nick Kroll and Castellini's built it to be, this team isn't going to win games consistently. It's just not going to happen. I think Bryce Spalding tweeted yesterday, and I kind of agreed with it. It was missing key pieces like TJ Friedel, Matt McClain, Noel V. Marte. Missing those guys forces other guys, Tyler Stevenson, Ellie, Jameer, all to step up and become better players. They were forcing them to at least attempt to become better players. And that puts additional pressure, changes the mind space as it would have had the roster been healthy from the start. My argument to that is every team is – those TVs are freaking out over there. As every team battles injuries, you just have to get through it. And the Reds have done a fine job at battling through this, I guess. They've looked okay. They're staying alive, quote unquote, based on how far back they are in the wild card race.
Right.
But you can't kid yourselves. I mean, if you watch these games, you know they're not very good. The bottom half of that lineup yesterday, that's not a professional team. I mean, it's just not. No other team in professional baseball outside of the White Sox and the Athletics, maybe the Marlins, have guys like that. Maybe the Rays as well. The bottom of the barrel are starting Stuart Fairchild, Santiago Espinal, Michael Jordan's little cousin, and who was the other guy? The guy
Juan
that just
Soto.
called up. Juan Soto's brother. That's who the Reds have right now. And unfortunately, until, again, we get Noel Marte back today, thank God. But until they're healthy, you're not getting a World Series contender, and you're probably not getting a playoff contender, and that's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, and I don't think there's really a solution to this.
Yeah, I think at this point we're kind of rooting for individual success to bleed through. When Noel comes back, you want him to come up and play well right away. Ellie to keep getting better and not having those slumps and just keep playing well. And the pitchers, Hunter Green, hopefully Lodolo comes back after these two missed starts and they stay hot. But everything outside of the few big names we still have on this team, I think you're just kind of hoping you tread water and they play all right and you have a little bit to root for at some point this year.
They are one Hunter Green injury away from being a AAA team.
Yeah.
They're one Hunter
Or Ellie.
or Ellie. They're one Hunter Green or Ellie De La Cruz injury away from being borderline shouldn't be allowed to play baseball. That's where the Reds are. I know Noelvi's coming back, and that's going to help a little bit. Hopefully, let's not pretend he didn't look terrible in AAA. I don't.
That's actually exactly what I'm going to do.
I don't write. I don't. You what?
I'm going to pretend that he didn't look terrible.
He didn't
in
look
AAA.
terrible. I don't write too much into
Fair.
the AAA stuff. The AAA stuff is just, for me, it's just like the equivalent of stretching. You just go-
AAA is the equivalent of spring stats. You only use them to
If they're
shape
good.
Yeah.
your argument. Like if they bat 370 in spring training, then you go, well, yeah, they had a great spring. And if they batted 110, you're like, well, he's a better player than that. And same way with AAA. You're like, well, he killed it in AAA, and that's why he's going to kill it in the MLB. And the exact opposite happens.
Yeah,
If he
it's never the case.
That's 0.79 in AAA. You're like, well, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens when he actually gets here. Only use it to shape your argument.
That's fair. Yeah, so the Reds will take on a 4-game series with the St. Louis Cardinals. Noelvi Marte back, but again, the rotation takes a massive hit, as you saw yesterday afternoon. Graham Ashcraft, if there was ever a start that he could have looked somewhat good to improve his stock, improve the fan base's opinion of him, it was yesterday, and it was objectively his worst game of the season.
Would have went a long way.
Would have went a long way. He talked about it after the game. I would show the clip, but copyrights can't do it. I would show the clip. Graham Ashcraft said it was frustrating. It's a gut punch when you get sent down to AAA. I'm off quoting here, so bear with me. Graham Ashcraft said that, again, it's when you work all the way up to get to Major League Baseball and then get sent right back down, it takes everything out of you. So he fought back. He's now on the team again. Based on this last start, he won't be on the team for long, and that's based on if the roster stays healthy. So tough game yesterday. Jacob, any big takeaways yesterday outside of Jonathan India? Jonathan India, keep staying hot, buddy. That's it.
Yeah,
that's our guy.
That's kind of the engine that's keeping this thing running right now. He doesn't do anything but get on base, so, got to keep it up. And you have to start asking the Mark Fetters, Jacob Tissick question. Is the trade value getting too high? Keeps climbing up every game.
Like I said, if this team has played themselves out of contention, really, and that's really hard to do based on how the NL looks right now, to play yourself completely out of contention. Even if they keep playing the way that they're playing right now, it's gonna take worse than that to play themselves out of contention. But if there aren't a whole lot of teams willing to sell, how high on the list of marquee names is Jonathan India?
Right.
I mean, you're looking at teams that will sell. The Athletics are. The White Sox are. The Marlins are. And the Rockies are. Whatever names they've got, which the names aren't a long list of, where does Jonathan India rank in terms of, middle infielders that's hitting the best of his career, that's playing the best defense of his career? There is value there. There is value there if the Reds do want to go down that route. I don't know if they do. I doubt that they will. But if they want to go down that route, his value will never be higher than it is right now, and closer to the trade deadline, but coming into this next month.
Yeah.
What would you want to trade him for? Just prospects, I guess?
Yeah.
that's all- it's
unless
prob-
you can.
What are you gonna get? Because you're gonna be trading him to a contender. So unless
Right,
they
they're not
have
gonna trade someone.
unless they have MLB ready prospects that are just in AAA because they don't have a spot to go, no, you're not gonna get an MLB player for
Right.
him more than
No,
likely.
yeah.
It's not gonna be
I
an
would-
even trade.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be an infield depth second baseman here, I would take a higher level infield prospect. I would love an outfield bat, obviously prospect that has a little bit of hope. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like Reed said, with the amount of sellers that there's going to be, which doesn't seem like many, he's going to be worth maybe even more than his stats suggest, which his stats suggest that he'd be worth a lot right now. So I don't know. We talked about last year that his trade value was higher than it would ever be, and then this year it dipped again, and I think it's even higher now than it was last year. But, back to the game yesterday, there's 4 total hits for this Reds team, including India's too, so there's not a whole lot offensively to get excited about this team if you get rid of him. Obviously, Ellie, a rough day yesterday. He's usually something you can get excited about, but, if you take India out of this lineup right now, it gets really ugly.
It seems, we can talk about doing this, and this seems similar to what we do in the fall when it gets around trade deadline, where we speculate on who the Bengals are going to go get to add to their team. We can speculate on Jonathan India's trade value, can speculate on all that stuff. Come August, chances are Jonathan India is going to be in a Cincinnati Reds uniform. At least it greatly appears that way. So we continue to speculate about it, and we will do that because that's what we do. Betting odds are that Jonathan India is going to be a Cincinnati Red going forward.
The only other positive news from last night's game, or yet last afternoon's game, was the bullpen. 3.2 innings, no runs allowed. Justin Wilson, Lucas Sims, Alexis Diaz all looked pretty good.
I will say I agree with it. They did look good, and Justin Wilson did have a big strikeout. He got out of a jam. But yeah, it's I can't take much away from the game. Unfortunately, it's just where it is. When you start Nick Martini, Santiago Espinal, Stuart Fairchild, Soto, and Jordan every single day, tough. It's not a major league lineup. Jamier Candelario, we know nothing about it other than David Bell saying it's getting progressively worse. Mm-hmm. So you expect an IL stint for him, assuming the Reds can call up somebody down from AAA to replace him. And then you have a guy like Will Benson, whose only job is to play against right-handed pitching. Can't go against right-handed pitching, not because he's hurt, but because he's the worst player on the face of the earth, respectfully, of course. It's tough. It's a tough position to be in if you're the Cincinnati Reds. If you're looking for positivity, some positive outlook, Nick Kirby did post something today, and that's the team can go on these streaks, right? And you saw it with the 7-gamer. There's always the capability with this Cincinnati Reds team that just when you think they're dead and out, that they will show up the next week and a half, and they will play the best baseball in the league. My only concern, and I mentioned it earlier, is that they are going to match that with an equally bad streak, and it just ruins everything. I've never seen a team do this. They can look phenomenal. And then the next day, it's, who are they? They don't have an identity. We're a year and a half into this project, and I'd still say we don't really have an identity. We don't know who the Reds are yet. We have Ellie De La Cruz, and that's a large piece of the identity. We have Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. Andrew Abbott as well. Andrew Abbott's pitching tonight. Large portions of the identity is there, but it's not filled out yet. We don't know who the Reds are yet. And last year, I think, unfortunately, I'm going to say this, and maybe I'm going to be wrong for saying it, but it almost did more it did more bad than good, because now I think that the Reds should be contenders when they were early last year. They were beyond early. They were like 5 steps earlier than the plan had us there. And now I have to sit here and think, with the expectations that I had coming into the season, that what they're doing now is a disappointment. And by all stretch of the imagination, it is disappointing. When your whole team is injured or suspended, it's very disappointing. To have what's gone on wrong here in Cincinnati, and everything has, as Reed said yesterday, everything has gone wrong that could go wrong. There's 2 more pieces to that could go wrong thing that still can get checked off at some point this season. I'm praying that doesn't happen. But the expectations were so drastically high coming into this season, and they shouldn't have been. And that was my mistake for falling into it, because I thought they could do that. And I think most people thought they could at least compete. And I guess by all stretch of the imagination, they technically are, based on how horrible the National League is. But this is not a playoff team. This is not a World Series team. We're still before the pinnacle, the peak, as Nick Kroll would like to say. We're not at the peak of this plan yet. We're not there. We're still climbing up the hill. And I don't even know if we're halfway up the hill yet. So we're early. But that's what I have to say if you took any positives out of that.
I understand the sentiment that the win streak's bad for the Reds and it moved, expectations and stuff. But, I mean, I'm not going to say a 12-game win streak is bad for the Reds.
No, it's not bad.
It made last year an enjoyable year to watch for the most part. Without it, you're, 10 games below 500 or so. And, even though this year hasn't been quite as fun, maybe because of expectations, last year was fun, partially because of the low expectations and only because of the 12-game win streak. So it's kind of a 1-for-1 trade, and I think I'd make that trade.
Listen, it's a good thing, right? You want, all you want is when you watch your team, to expect them to get something out of it. You don't want hopeless games. You don't want to watch your team and just think, hey man, this is hapless, this is hopeless. I've got nothing here. And that's what the 12-game win streak did. It did put them ahead of schedule. It did circumnavigate expectations and really put the Reds ahead of schedule, where we thought that they take that next step. They took a huge leap last year. Let's take that next step and be a playoff team this year, and you keep going forward. That doesn't always happen, as you're seeing right now, but it's not a terrible thing. I will say that the speech that we just got from Elliott reminded me so much of being a kid. It's what parents do to their kids. Like, it's not your fault. It's not the Reds' fault that they're bad. It's not your fault that you didn't get good grades. It's my fault for expecting you to. That was the speech we just got from Elliott. He just said, he's like, it's not on the Reds. It just is with the Reds. It's my fault for believing in them.
I want to believe. That's all I ask. And Mark said it in the chat. That Cincinnati, there's not a hungrier fan base in the country, maybe outside of Minnesota, that is yearning for some sort of success with their professional sports teams more than us, more than their baseball team, more than us. The Bengals, God bless their hearts, all they had to do was win that Super Bowl, and I would have been fine. If the Bengals win the Super Bowl, I don't even care anymore.
We wouldn't even be talking Reds on the show. We'd be
talking Bengals.
Bengals Super Bowl.
How are the Reds being bad the Bengals' fault?
They wouldn't be bad if the Bengals would have won that Super Bowl.
That's correct.
We would have had none of these injuries.
I don't like the
none of these injuries. We would have topped the NL Central right now if the Bengals would have won that Super Bowl.
No.
I love a good bit. I like the bits on this show. I like this show. I hate that.
It end the curse.
That one's get out of here. I ain't saying that the Bengals are the reason that the Reds are bad.
It's not the reason, but they could have. They had an opportunity to end the curse.
They could have ended the curse.
They're not the reason that the Reds are currently bad, but they are the reason that they're not currently good.
Correct.
Yes.
And we're going to talk more about
can't
that.
Win, must lose.
We're going to
must win, can't lose.
We're going to talk more about that and more. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. Dayton. Shout out to Dayton, everybody listening. Dayton, thank you very much for coming in. Home of the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. We'll be right back. Ooh, welcome on in. If you're here to talk Reds baseball, you've come to the right place. Unfortunately for all of us, they stink. That's
Real
what they
bad.
are. They stink. Not a good team.
P.U.
You look at the bottom half of that lineup yesterday, the 5 through 9, and there's not a worse bottom half in the league. I think that lineup yesterday was worse than anything the White Sox have put out this year, anything the A's have put out. It was terrible. Granted, there's no other options because Jamier Candelario's hurt, Jake Fraley is hurt. That's how crazy the Will Benson thing is. Against a righty, when Jake Fraley's hurt, Will Benson's not good enough to play. But he still is occupying a roster.
my guy.
But he's still occupying a roster spot.
That's my guy. You guys give up on Will Benson. Watch what he does next.
I would love to be wrong.
I would love to be wrong. I just don't understand why you don't send him down. Clearly, something's not right. And if he's not able to play yesterday, when the other right fielder is hurt against a right-handed pitcher, and he's still not good enough to play, that's probably a problem. Now, everybody's going to say, well, who are you going to bring up? Quite frankly, I don't care.
Well, at this point,
It's
Living
Nick
Soto's
Martini. It's
better. Yeah.
It's Nick Martini, Levon Soto, and Levi Jordan. We're gonna say it can get worse. I don't think so. Will Benson's hitting $180. So yeah, the Will Benson thing is a little frustrating as well. But maybe I had too high of expectations for him.
Speaking of expectations, what are your expectations for Marte? If he does come up, does play in this series, which I think we are in some capacity expecting.
I'm trying to temper my expectations.
This is what he's currently hitting.
I'm
And I know
failing
we
to.
don't do we don't want to talk about the AAA stats, but in AAA, he had 53 at-bats. He batted 151. His on-base percentage was 151. In 53 at-bats, he did not walk a single time.
In the easiest league to walk.
Did not get hit by a pitch a single time. He slugged .321. Of his 8 extra base hits, one of them was an extra. Of his 8 base hits, one of them was an extra base hit.
But he almost had those 2 home runs that one time.
Almost had those 2 big homers.
Sounds like he might need to go to Chattanooga instead.
My bad. He slugged 170. .321 was his OPS.
Oh my gosh. What are your expectations?
What are your expectations for that?
My expectations are 270, like
370.
270, 350, 400.
Nice.
I mean,
I knew he was bad.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
I knew he was bad. I didn't look at the actual numbers to see how bad he
Oh,
was.
really bad.
So that's atrocious.
15 strikeouts and 53 at-bats. That's under
Still-
30%.
But he was
That's
ready.
okay.
He's mentally ready for MLB pitching, and the AAA pitching just threw him off his game.
I will say, I
True.
imagine a
That
large
could be the
portion of
case.
that was making sure he could swing the bat, just going over, just making sure the swing's good. So he
Well,
wasn't.
you heard David
he wasn't-
Bell, right?
He wasn't there to draw walks.
David Bell doesn't look at
Swing
the
the
stat output.
bat.
It's just how he looks
Yeah.
swinging the bat. That's what David Bell says.
How do you look good swinging the bat when you're slugging 170 and you don't walk?
like
You
this.
and I disagree with the people that you're not down there to walk. You're down there to hack. No, you're down there to get good at bats.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no difference between hacking. Like you're going down there to get at bats, and if they walk you, if you don't throw you good pitches, you're not having good at bats.
He wasn't having good at bats, but I'm
Clearly.
hoping he's gonna have good at bats starting today.
He got all the bad out of the system.
Yeah,
So the expectations are low.
very high.
Mine are very high as well.
You're
expectations
setting
are-
you're
are-
setting yourself
setting
up
yourself.
to be upset.
Absolutely, no
Correct.
question about it.
Why?
Because that's what I do, Jimmy.
That's the only.
If Noelvi Marte comes back and is that, this Reds team is unwatchable.
Yeah, it's an unwatchable product.
If he
he's that
he
bad,
comes back and he's Livian Soto, we're in trouble.
Jamie-
So I'm gonna choose to believe that he's gonna be a 275 hitter.
I agree with Jacob 100%. If we lose Jamier Candelario to the IL, if Jake Fraley goes to the IL because of a leg contusion, and then we have Noelvi Marte coming back and he's hitting 150. This team isn't a professional team. It's a double-A team.
If Noelvi Marte
It's not a
was
triple-A team. It's a double-A team.
If Marte was relying on steroids, Matt McClain might not have a non-throwing shoulder ever again. CES has nerve damage in his wrist, and Ellie's great. This core.
Okay.
Whew.
Say he hits 245. What are your thoughts on that?
That's fine.
245 with what? I mean, it's
245. That's 100 points higher than he's hitting.
With what? Yeah, with
Is
what?
he hitting extra base
Is he
hits?
245 with
What-
245
is,
OBP?
is he getting on base? What's up with the 245? Because
He's-
Jake Fraley's hitting
he's
280.
he's
and
hitting-
Jake Fraley can't get to second base to save his life.
That's true. Yeah. 245 with more extra base hits than Fraley.
With 2?
Well, it's 2. So no, listen, if Noelvi Marte can get on base at a reasonable clip, 330 is I think league average. If you can give me league average OBP, I'll take it. As long as you're contributing a little bit of extra base hits every now and then.
He was hitting 320 and 115 at bats last year.
Some are saying that's because of the steroids.
But
Not me.
steroids
Not
don't
me.
help you see the ball.
No, you're right.
Like,
that's the part of steroids that is funny.
you
Like,
still have to
steroids
watch a
don't-
100-mile-an-hour pitch versus a 70-mile-an-hour
Yeah.
pitch and differentiate and see the spin and get the
Yeah.
bat to the ball.
Steroids don't make you good at baseball. You're already good at baseball. It's just they help improve your stats, and maybe that's what it was last year. But either way, I do expect. Unfortunately, based on that, I have no choice but to have high expectations.
The worst stretch in Marte's career at any level was in 2022 in the Arizona Fall League. He played 21 games. In those 21 games, he batted .211 with a .321 on base percentage and a .310 slugging percentage. So a full 150 points higher on the on base percentage in his worst stretch to minor league to this point. To this point in his career, throughout all of his stretches. Reminder: only 12 games. We're talking 2 weeks. So let's not put too much stake in it. He's just clearly not seeing the ball well right now. He's still a pretty good player, but this is the worst stretch of his professional career coming back from this suspension.
The thing that will move the needle for the Reds, even if he does hit, say, a $190, 210, he's going to be a massive improvement defensively.
Yeah,
Massive improvement
He
defensively.
certainly
at
can't
third
get any
base.
worse than how
So
bad this team is defensively.
that'll at least help the team. Regardless.
If he's going to hit $150, though, I'm out.
So does damn near
No-
everyone else on this roster.
No
true.
free passes in 53 at bats is not good.
No, it's not.
And I don't want to read too much into it, but that
many-
means pitchers are attacking you too.
we have-
It means two things. It either and I don't think it's I don't think it's that he's chasing pitches because he only struck out 15 times and 53 at bats. That's not a crazy high number. In fact, that's okay. But they're attacking you, and you're not being able to hit off them.
How many times did he get to the 3-ball mark, though? That's the big important question. Because he probably saw that 3-ball number.
And he's like, I don't want to walk.
I don't
need to
want
get
to
some
walk.
swings in.
Let's swing.
You're right.
That's what it was.
You're right.
I think there was a lot of opportunities to walk.
For sure. He just didn't want to.
He just didn't want to. That's
We're
what it
doing a
was.
good job with this.
I think we are.
We're handling this well.
Oh, I think we're doing
I
great.
think we're
The
good.
spin zone is better right now than it will be tonight at 8 p or whatever time that's.
If he
going
goes
live.
like 0 for 4 tonight,
4 strikeouts.
oh man,
Is he definitely playing tonight?
I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen an official yet.
As a fan, and we're heading that way, and we still have Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green. What would it take for you to just be so out on the team? And when I say out, I mean just you're not watching them. You don't check the box score. You're just
I mean, it's an Ellie injury.
correct.
Even if Hunter gets hurt, which would suck. If Lodolo's blister lasts a month like the last one did, that would suck. If Ellie's still playing shortstop for the Reds, I'm going to watch more games than I'm not. If he's out of that lineup, honestly, at this point, if he gets a day off, I might not watch the game.
Yeah.
And then just come back the next day. But like, if Ellie's in the lineup, I'm going to watch the game because you never know what he's going to do. I mean, he steals a base, he hits a home run,
Superstar.
whatever it is. Yeah, he's incredible to watch even if you're going to lose. So I'll watch him at least more often than not as long as Ellie's in there.
And that's why I made that point, and I really don't want to jinx it. I really don't. But that's
So say it again. What else?
I'm not gonna say it again.
Jinxes don't exist.
I'm not gonna say it again. But Ellie De La Cruz, one of the best parts about him is that he's been able to play.
You said it again.
I said it again. Yeah. One of the best parts about Ellie De La Cruz is that he's been
You
healthy.
can't
up until
can't
this
deny
point,
that. Like that's a very good point. Like he
It's-
shows up on a team that's had those problems. He's been there every day.
100%. But we knew that. It didn't have to be said out loud.
Yeah, but I have to say it out loud because it's just every other player gets
That's true.
hurt. Every single one. Best ability is availability. Not only does Ellie have the 5 tools of baseball, he's also got the 6th one, which is just to play every day. And that's important. It's just an important piece of this lineup right now. If you lose Ellie De La Cruz, no joke, this is the worst team I've probably had in my life. If they lose him. With
I
no,
don't know.
with
62 and 100 is pretty bad.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it is. If they don't have Jamir Candelario, they don't have Ellie De La Cruz,
Oh, yeah,
Matt
to take
McClain.
out their entire starting.
Correct.
Jamer's there.
Jamer's going to go on IL soon.
He's going to go on IL. That's my whole point of this. Jake Fraley has a leg contusion. They're all hurt. They're all hurt, and the ones that aren't hurt stink. I'm trying to.
I mean, even Candelario on the roster right now, they said he's going to DH a couple times a week until this heals.
Correct. He said, and David Bell, and by the way, David Bell lies at every press conference respectfully. I don't know if he actually does. I'm going to walk that one back. David Bell, I'm very sorry. I don't think you lie. David Bell said,
We're not doing David Bell today.
I will not do David Bell today. David Bell said
And it's getting David Bell today.
It's getting progressively worse with Jeimer Candelario.
Right.
It's getting worse.
That was
as
sad.
the days go on. So, yeah, I am concerned that this is going to be one of the worst teams I've ever seen in my life. So, very sorry. It's not there yet. Don't get me wrong. It's not there yet. We still have Ellie De La Cruz. But, boy, if we lose him, I don't know. I don't know. I try to be positive. The Reds are 4th in the NL Central. They're 10.5 games back. Just felt like yesterday they were 4.5 games back after winning 7 in a row. 3-7 in their last 10. The Cubs 3-7 in their last 10. Pirates are 39-41, 8.5 behind the Brewers, 3rd in the division. Cardinals 41-38, 6 games behind the Brewers. They're 7-3 in their last 10. 10 of their last 14.
What's life like for a Brewers fan?
I don't know. It's
You
gotta
just
be
know
good.
you're going to win the Central. You just kind of kick your feet up all regular season and then just know you're going to lose in the first or second round?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that's got to be almost as brutal of an existence.
I think that
I can promise you it's not as brutal.
You just know you have no chance to win.
I can promise you it's not as brutal.
But you still get to watch your team win most of their games in the regular season.
Yeah, but
so.
I can sit over here with my superstar and watch him steal 80 bases.
It's true.
It's fun.
Let me ask you this, Jacob. What's your number for this season right now? I think we played this last week. What's your number of wins for the Cincinnati Reds this season? What are they going to finish with?
77.
77?
77.
I'm a little lower. I'm about 73.
I was going to say 74.
73. Just because if they're legitimately, if they're all going to go down with injuries, then they have no chance.
Well, if Candy goes to the 60 a day, then it's
over.
61.
Okay.
Like,
They're 37-43 now. There's 17 games until the end of the the first half. You have a 7-game road trip, 4 in St. Louis, 3 in New York, and then a 10-game homestand.
That 10-game homestand, Jimmy, is the X factor.
when we said 6-4, 7-3 a couple weeks ago, it was like, that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
But this team needs to go 10-0 in those 10 games. like this team needs to go 10-0 in those 10 games.
Tigers at home, respectfully, they stink. Rockies at home for 4, they stink. And the Marlins at home. And then coming after the All-Star break, it's the Nationals on the road. That's the most important stretch of the season. If the Reds are anywhere near 500 during that stretch, it's over. It's done.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, out of those 17, what's like a realistic expectation for you to continue to believe going into the second half?
They have to win 7 games out of that 10. They have to win 7.
Okay.
They have to.
Well,
and that keeps them mathematically alive for the division. It keeps them mathematically alive for the wild card. Anywhere near 500, 2 games above 500 in that stretch doesn't do me any good.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. You're winning games, I guess.
Yeah.
But 6-4, I'd 7-3. You have to go 7-3.
17-13 in the last 30. If you just do that again over your next 30, and then again over your next 30, you're a game over 500.
And then what about the next 30 after that?
Well, you gotta hope you do it again.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. That's it for the Reds. This was the
Take
Reds.
that.
This was the Reds eulogy. This was the Reds eulogy segment. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that. The Reds again back at it tonight in St. Louis. Hopefully Andrew Abbott can throw 9 shutout innings and the Reds score 1 run. That's what I can hope for and pray for. But that's it. Reds tonight. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. You'll be able to hear that right here on this station. Other than that, we're taking a quick break. We'll be right back with you. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready as all
For
ever be.
the greatest segment in the history of YouTube.
The ads. That's what helps pay the bills around here. Encore Technologies, they provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services for mobile computing, desktop data center, supporting most centralized work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
Productivity.
That's right, Jimbo.
That's right, Jimbo. Path to innovation begins here.
You're on camera.
I am on camera.
Casey, do you want me to do this?
Pawnee Water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio, uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing of the brands used. The result being a healthy alkaline water. Some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNIwater.com so you can buy a great tasting water. Are we doing
Game time.
game time? All right, game time.
Every day.
I'll be
Every
using
day.
game time to go to Kenny Chesney on Saturday.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh,
Sounds like a
yeah.
lot
That's
of
at the
fun.
stadium, right?
It is TQL.
Shoebox.
TQL.
Nice. Megan Maroney.
Sand on the floor?
I don't. Is that a thing?
I've heard.
If that's a thing, I'll be very excited.
Are you floor?
No,
Ah, be cool.
but I can make my way down.
Yeah, you can kick the shoes off, go barefoot in
Oh
TQL.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Got to.
Yep, right now they have tickets on sale for the Tigers game here in Cincinnati on Friday the 5th. $17. It's actually the whole series is about $17. That's pretty nice. And then later on, the Rockies as low as $6. That's pretty nice. So go check out some of the Reds tickets that they have offering there. Some Riverbend Music, Red Hot Chili Peppers are also on the 5th. You already talked about Kenny Chesney later. They have New Zealand at USA if anyone wants to go. I don't know where that's at exactly, but it's at TQL.
What?
Yeah, it's at TQL apparently.
Team USA is playing at TQL?
Oh yeah, that's new news.
Maybe I'll go to that.
Is that breaking news?
It's fairly new news. Yeah.
Very fairly new. Well, hey, $64. Go check them out. Yeah, lots of different events around here in Cincinnati. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Casey, I'm so sorry that happened. We will never. I can't have you read ad reads when you're that sick.
I just can't breathe through my
I know.
nose.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to talk. It sounds like we just took the life force out of you.
Let's do Casey's minute. Casey, let's just get a tight shot on Casey's nose.
With Casey's minute. Take a nap. Take a nap with that minute. My boy, you gotta leave after this. You are sicker than a dog. I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry for that.
Roof, roof.
I'm okay. I just can't breathe through my nose.
Oh man.
That's half the way you can breathe.
I'm okay. I just can't breathe.
Is there anything worse than when someone acknowledges your breathing, like reminds you to take a hey, this is your reminder, take a deep breath. You're breathing right now. Make sure that you know that you're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Now everyone's going to be thinking about it. Now they've got to manually do it. It's not fun when that happens. But Casey, thank you for those ad reads.
But also, like,
Oh yeah. Clear, baby.
Inside Baseball, I just wanted to also show, like, well, wait, I don't know. We haven't made any announcements, have we?
No announcements.
Just put the camera
over there.
Put the camera on that desk.
Show them what it's going to look like.
Put the camera on that desk right now.
Okay. Yep.
Right now.
And then we'll buy time. Just a reminder, starting next week, new look here on Off the Biz.
Hey, we've never had a new look.
we said
Hopefully
this
this one's to stay.
We're trying our best to give you guys consistency. We really are. We're trying to make this best, and that soon.
Hey.
Oh, who will it be? Who will it be? No one will
knows.
know.
No one
no
knows.
one knows. And I'm not telling. We're gonna try and get the boss on here tomorrow to break that news to you guys. Who will it be? Who will it be? I don't know. But we're having fun with you guys, and we'll continue to have fun throughout this summer and going forward. We're trying to give you guys some consistency. I'm playing drink roulette over here, by the way.
Nice.
I've got 2 different drinks.
Oh, very cool.
One is water, Pawnee water, and one is coffee. And I can't tell by like holding them.
Oh yeah.
So I've just been grabbing.
You're just going to close your eyes.
I've just been grabbing and getting whatever I get.
If you're expecting coffee and water hits your mouth or vice versa, that's got to be somewhat of a shock to the system.
Oh yeah. Well, like
Oh, yeah.
the coffee's not as hot anymore, so it's not like I'm like taking a big gulp and burning my esophagus. But it is drink roulette over here, which is fun.
What I was going to say, and I'll just announce this for the chat, we will have a new intro by Monday. Yay.
Casey.
Woo!
No more of the same intro.
Casey's got me ready to run through a brick wall.
Casey's so happy to be here.
Can you,
I don't know why
Casey?
he came in.
I mean, you made him come in
Real quick,
yesterday. You thought he had to
Casey,
come in
I did
today.
not
Casey.
text you coming Thursday. I did not do that.
No, I'm fine, guys.
Casey,
I just can't breathe.
It really sounds like you're
Casey,
fine.
can you please, just for the bit, just for my entertainment, read the speech from Miracle? Can you read that? Can you read the speech from Miracle with your current state? If you look it up and read it right before we go back to radio, please. This would really make my day. Because I think you could inspire a nation in your current state.
Movie speech from Miracle. Coach
Yeah.
Brooks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. To him.
I want to do it. I want to do it.
brutal.
What are you? You're mean to him.
I'm
Why
not
you
being
being
mean. I was sick too. Listen.
And you read the Miracle speech?
Yeah, almost. I should have. It would have been funny. This is a great bit. You got it in you, Casey?
No. I can look at him and say no.
You got it, Casey. Go until you can't go anymore.
He can't start.
He can start. Casey, go until you can't go no more.
No, we're not doing this.
This was a great bit.
That was a
And-
terrible,
great.
terrible bit.
Great. I'm just gonna read it. Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight, boys. That's what you've earned here tonight. One game. If we played them 10 times, they might win 9. But not this game. Not tonight. Tonight, we skate with them. Tonight, we stay with them and we shut them down because we can. Tonight, we are the greatest hockey team in the world. You were born to be the hockey players, every one of you. And you weren't meant to be here tonight. Is your time, their time is done. It's over. I'm sick and tired of hearing about what a great hockey team the Soviets have. Screw them. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Yeah, yeah.
Take that,
Come
Soviet
on.
Union. Take
on.
that.
Come on.
USA.
USA. USA. Casey, that was incredible. And because of that, we're going to take a 5-second break and go right back to the radio. Welcome back in off the bench, Chatterbox Sports, Elliot Rearing, Reed Mouse, Casey McAllister. I messed it up again. Casey McAllister, Jimmy Collins, and Jacob Tissett. I went 2 for 2, now 2 for 3 on the day. I'm very sorry, and those on you on the radio just missed a great speech by our leader, Casey McAllister. He read the entire speech of Miracle, Herb Brooks, his speech to get the boys going. He read the entire speech while being sick. It fired this entire room up. Morale has never been higher. Casey, you did your best work just then. Be proud of yourself.
I try.
Thank
I try
you.
to appease.
Moving on, speaking of the Reds, because we just did a whole 2 segments on it, we're going to do another one because we want to, I believe this is right, unless I missed something here. That's what we're doing?
We're going to grade different players on the Cincinnati Reds here at the midseason point because we're right at the midseason point.
That's right.
Right now, 81 games in, we're going to put on our teaching hats and we're going to give these separate Reds a grade. You got to work on that eyesight, Elliot. You got to work on that eyesight.
I can't. What do you want me to do? I can't. I mean,
Work on it.
There's nothing to read yet.
Just practice.
I'll contact God, and I'll see if he can get me a better eye.
All right. This is the first guy we're going to grade. We're going to start with the catcher, Tyler Stevenson. What is the grade you guys give Tyler Stevenson 81 games in?
I think Tyler Stevenson's a solid B minus.
Oh no.
He's been playing well. He had a great stretch. He's in a rough point right now, but he's one of the best bats on this team throughout the year.
I think he's won for his. I think
He's had a terrible stretch, but for the month prior to this stretch, he was the best bat on the team.
maybe, but for the last month he's been truly.
If you
atrocious.
grade him against Reds, it's like a B.
That's fair. I guess that's fair. If you grade him against only Reds players, it's a B. But if you grade him on a regular season, it's a C+.
I was going to give him, so I'm looking at it right now. He's batting .240. He's got an OPS plus of exactly 100. He's got an OPS of 714. That's an above average catcher. That is a good catcher even. You look around the league, there's probably 10 teams that have a legitimate catcher.
Yep.
Or else it's normally just a platoon of guys and you make do with what you can. Tyler Stevenson's right on that cusp of, is he the player that you thought you were getting 2 years ago? No, but he's certainly someone that has a spot on this team going forward. I give Tyler Stevenson a B. I give him a B. He's a solid catcher. He's improved his defensively. He's a solid B.
He's improved, no doubt. He was a D- last year, C+ this year. from me.
He's on pace for about a 2 WAR, which is about what you get out of an
pretty good.
everyday. It's about what you get out of an everyday catcher.
5th best, 6th best bat on the team or so.
Right. As a catcher, that's something. All right, Spencer Steer is who we're going to go to next. Spencer Steer, what grade do we give Spencer Steer? In chat, let us know what you guys are giving Spencer Steer.
I'm going to give him again C+. He's gone down from last year. I think last year Reed unfortunately might have been right, and I don't want to say he was right, but that might have been the best season.
He laughed at me.
That might have been the peak of Spencer Steer. 256, 304 OBP, slugging 444. That's over his last month of baseball. I did see last night that I think it was Bryce or Clay Snowden tweeted it out, but it was over his last 162 games. He's been an average player. He's been a solid player. This year, defensively hasn't been great, and obviously offensively, he's gone down a little bit. And for that reason, he gets a C+ from me. Here's the pros: plays every day, and I can't ask more than that.
Plays multiple positions
on a team that gets injured every single night. Spencer Steer playing every single night matters a lot to me. So in fact, you know what? I'm going to a B-. I'm going to B- just because he plays every day. It was a C+ based on what he's done on the field. B- because he's able to play every day.
So you think Spencer Steer has been better than Tyler Stevenson?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go C-. Whole grade below on that. I think partially part of that for me is what we expected him to be this year. We expected him to be one of the best bats on the team, and I guess maybe he has been, but that's a product of how bad the rest of the team's been, not what he's been. He's fallen off quite a bit, and the defense didn't make the strides that we hoped for in the outfield with the whole offseason there. I'm going to go C-.
I'm going to go C+, and it's not because of anything Steer has done. This is exactly the ball. What he's doing this year is exactly the ball player that I expect him to be.
Correct.
A bad defender, an average MLB bat that will have a place in the league. He'll get full pension. He'll play in the league for a decade or till he's 33, 32 years old because he's a good enough hitter that someone will always want him on their roster. The problem is he doesn't do anything defensively. What you saw last year, Elliot laughed at me for saying this, but that was pretty much the top of Spencer Steer. When they do the projections before the year, they do this is if he makes the top 10%, this is what it looks like if he makes the bottom 10%. What you saw last year was top 10 from Spencer Steer. If he continues to be that player, which I don't think he is going to be, you're looking at not just an MLB baseball player, you're looking at a star. And I don't think that's what anybody expected him to be. I'll give him a C+ because that's exactly what he's been. He's been just an average baseball player.
It's fair.
All right, we're going to go Jonathan India. I'll start this one off. I'll give Jonathan India an A. I think that he has improved defensively. He's playing a position that coming into spring training, they did not expect him to be an everyday player at. They were talking, hey, can he play first? Can he play left? Where can he play? They knew he was going to play some in the middle infield, but he's had to be there every day because of injuries. He's improved at that position, and he has exceeded expectations. Jonathan India has been, this is the 11 straight times on base. That's incredible. Truly incredible. And that shouldn't go under the rug. Are we getting him at the hottest he's been in his career? Maybe, but he has all the expectations that you have for Jonathan India. He has exceeded those. So it's only fitting that you give Jonathan India an A.
I'm giving him an A too. I think it's probably the clearest A on the Reds when you juxtapose their actual play with what the expectations were. He's improved his outs above average at second base by 8 this year. He was -6 last year. He's +2 this year. That's unbelievable. And obviously he's been the best bat on the Reds for the last month, maybe even a little bit longer. If he keeps this up, I don't know how it wouldn't be an A season. This is great.
It's an A not only because of how well he's played, but he knew coming into this season it was make or break. He knew that he had to play well if there was a chance that he was going to be a consistent player on the Cincinnati Reds. He's done that. He's taken a step up when Matt McLain went down. With all the injuries the Reds have suffered, he's needed to be the leader, and he's been that thus far. And for that, he gets an A from me as well. Jonathan India has been arguably the third most important hitter on this Reds lineup. So yeah, without him, I don't know where we are. And Jonathan India, thank you very much. A.
We'll go with his middle infield counterpart, the superstar of the team, maybe the superstar of the league, Elly De La Cruz. What's the grade you're giving him?
I'm gonna let Jacob start.
I'm gonna give him a B+.
Okay.
I would like to give him an A. I just can't with the strikeouts. I don't really care about the errors. I know he leads that as well, but with the amount of range he has and everything else, I don't think that's as big of an issue. It's going to knock him down from an A just because he leads the league in strikeouts. I mean, that's going to have to knock you a little bit. The slumps are tough to deal with just because we know how crucial he is to the team. But, when he's not slumping, he's one of the best players in the entire league. So I think anything below a B is unfair to how much he means to this team. I don't think an A is quite fair just because of how high the expectations are. Even if that's not fair to him, that's what we expected. So I'm going to go B+.
I think at the beginning of this season, Ellie De La Cruz was having a Jonathan India type of run where he couldn't get out. He's just on base every time. And the thing about Ellie De La Cruz is he has those expectations. He's stealing bases nonstop. He's up to 37 for the season at the halfway point. Ellie De La Cruz is going to get a B+ for me as well. I think that's a fair number. I was gonna give him an A-, but I don't want to one up Jacob. I'm not going to one up Jacob and make Jacob the Ellie hater. So I'll say B+. But saying that, Ellie De La Cruz has been very important. The errors, I know, have been frustrating for everybody. I know the base running miscues have been a big talk too. He's made silly mistakes, but as we all know, he's a child. When I say a child, he's 22 years old. When it comes to baseball life, he's as young as you can get. So he's still learning, he's still growing, and every season he's going to improve. This season he's sticking on par, if not exceeding expectations from where we thought he could be after last season. So yeah, B+, maybe A-.
I think you guys are being way too hard on Ellie De La Cruz.
Pacing of 5.
I think he absolutely gets an A+. I think he gets an A+. We're looking at a guy that is just slightly below pace for a 30 home run, 80 stolen base season. We're talking about a guy that is one of the best defenders in the league according to outs above average. We're talking about a guy that one of the big question marks was, can he have long at bats? Can he get on base via the walk? Well, he's looking to get on base at a 350 clip. He's looking to get on base, almost have 80 plus walks. At 22 years old, this guy was supposed to be, yes, the star of this team, but he was thrust into a role where he had to not only be the star of the team, he had to be their bona fide best player here in year 2, and he's done that. He's done that and more. I know the strikeouts are concerning. I know that he makes a miscue on a misplay here and there, but this guy has stepped up to the cause at really every single turn. He's batting 250. He's getting on base 350. He's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to steal 80 bases. Like, that is an A+ player by every stretch of the imagination at 22 years old. I know we make fun of he's 22 excuses, but he is 22 years old. Ellie De La Cruz, A+.
That's fair. That's more than fair.
He's pacing a WAR above 5, so I think an A is probably fair.
He might start in the All-Star game too.
Right.
Might start in the All-Star game. Now we're gonna stick it in keep it in the field. We're gonna go Billy Baseball, Will Benson.
F, D-, F.
A, B, C, D,
I'll go F.
E,
Is there
F,
something
G,
lower than F?
H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. He gets a W. W. Because he's been that bad. I mean, he's legitimately atrocious. If there was any player that couldn't have had a worse season, it's him. I mean, he plays against right-handed pitching. He wanted to get more at-bats coming into the year against lefties. That failed miserably. He wanted to be an everyday player. It's failed miserably. Yesterday, when our other right fielder's injured against a right-handed pitcher, Will Benson's unavailable to play in a team that's riddled with injuries because he's just bad. That's how bad you are, and I say that with love and respect. I love Will Benson. I think he can be good. I really do. I still believe he can be. Go down to AAA for a little bit, clean it up. You've done it before. But as of right now, nobody's playing worse baseball than the Cincinnati Reds. He gets an F.
Yeah,
hard
it's a
F.
Solid F for me as well. I mean, we were hoping that Will Benson could emerge as an everyday player this year, and he's hitting .095 against lefties and .210 against righties, so he can't really play against anybody. Not to mention he's -3 outs above average in the outfield, so he's a bad defender, he's a bad hitter. There's really nothing he provides to this Reds team.
No positive to take away from Will Benson this season.
Yeah, I think before the season that we kind of assumed that Will Benson was going to take that next leap. He obviously had the terrible April, came back and was one of the most productive bats on the team last year. Might have been the best 9-hole in the league. And we kind of expected that to continue to happen. Well, that's not happening whatsoever, and he looks absolutely lost to the plate. I said this yesterday. When you're missing low 90s fastballs over the heart of the plate, when you're a patient hitter like Will Benson can be at times, that's not good. Everyone can laugh at me when I say that he's a patient hitter. He is a patient hitter. He just, when he gets the pitch that he waits for, he's not hitting it. That's why the strikeout numbers are so high. And Will Benson absolutely gets an F because he hasn't been there in any grade. He hasn't been the hitter that we expected him to be, hasn't been the fielder that we expected him to be, and he hasn't stepped up in the role that the Reds needed him to step up into.
Bad.
He needs to go down to hopefully find some kind of bump. I mean, the whole debate about whether we can find someone better than him to come up, I think, is useless because the version of Will Benson up here is not even close to the shell of a version we could expect. So if you can send him down and get something a little bit better.
And I don't know what really we're pretending this Reds team is right now. I've read the bottom half of our lineup 10 times today. Are you saying one more AAA, one more minor leaguer is going to make this team worse than it already is?
Will Benson's playing like a minor leaguer.
Yeah, it's bring somebody up. Hopefully he gets his mind right, and that's all we can hope for.
All right, let's do his platoon partner, Stuart Fairchild. Stuart baseball.
People aren't going to like this, but Stuart Fairchild has done everything that we've asked him. The only knock on him are his throwing ability, I think. And by the way, he can't hit righties, so I guess two knocks on him. But he was asked to come up here, be a platoon outfielder against left-handed pitching. That was his role, and in that role, he has succeeded. So I'm gonna give Stuart Fairchild a B minus. I can't ask much more of Stuart Fairchild. Coming to this year, I was not a Stuart Fairchild believer. I was with the crowd that if you're seriously considering playing Stuart Fairchild, you're not a serious organization. I am wrong on that take. He is more than capable of being the 25th, 26th, 24th man on a major league roster. He's been that for the Cincinnati Reds. Stuart, again, should he play every day? Absolutely not, but he has to. And in that role, he's been fine. He's been serviceable. So he's been more than what I thought he was.
I'm going to give Stuart Fairchild a B+. I don't think anyone on this Reds team has done what they've been asked to do more than Stuart Fairchild. The difference between him and Will Benson is that Will Benson was expected to maybe emerge as an everyday player. No one ever expected that about Stu. Stu's hitting 300 against left-handed pitching. He's an above-average defensive outfielder. He gets a B+ for me.
Yeah, listen, when you're in class and you do exactly what you're asked to do, you don't exceed expectations, you get a B+, and that's exactly what Stuart Fairchild is going to get. He's been good against lefties. He's been good in the field. He has done everything you asked him to be. These guys made all those points very, very vividly, illustrated them perfectly. But he hasn't taken that next step either to where I can give him an A.
Right.
So he's just been Stuart Fairchild, what you expect him to be. Give him a B+, and that's more than fair to Stewie. He's having a great season thus far.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're gonna take it. We got, I think, what, 2 more, 3 more?
We got a couple more.
We got a couple more Reds mid-season grades to go over. You've been listening to Off the Bench Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers, here on ESPN 1410, home of the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. We'll be right back with you guys. Welcome on in, Off the Bench, Elliot, Reed, Casey, Jacob, Jimmy. We are all here on this glorious Thursday afternoon for you guys in Dayton, or anybody who else is listening on ESPN 1410. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. For our YouTube chat, thank you as always to everybody there today. I haven't seen Brian there yet today. Maybe he'll be in here.
The GOAT.
Justin's in here. We got Chase, Mark, Game Day, Molly's in here.
One Nation Underground.
One Nation Underground. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I don't like to do a negative Reds show, but given that the state of the last 25 years, you have to do it every day. So that's where we are, and we're going to continue being, hopefully, maybe a little positive. Maybe we got a couple more positives here on this list to talk about grades midway through the season for the Cincinnati Reds.
Now we're going to do the final position player before we get into a couple pitchers.
Okay.
And that is Jeimer Candelario. Jeimer Candelario. What is the grade for the big free agent signing from the Reds this offseason?
I think it's an A.
Okay.
I think after that first month, it was pretty low, maybe as low as it could get. Expectations-wise, people were phoning in the signing, saying it was pretty bad. You know, basically saying the last 3 years of that contract were going to be completely nothing. Worst contract for the Reds, everything like that.
Yep.
He's become one of the best hitters in the league over the last month, and for the Reds, he's probably the best bat on the team. 14 home runs already. I mean, there's not much more you could ask out of Jeimer Candelario. He's playing to the back of his baseball card plus a little bit right now. So yeah, I think it's an A.
I think it's a B. Defensively, he's been woeful. He's been worse than I could have imagined. But saying that, offensively, he is, as Jacob said, he's been one of the more important players on this team. I think he's done his job. He is the guy you pay $15 million to. I was very concerned coming into the season that the Reds were going to miss on yet another free agent bat. They've done that a lot over the past 20 seasons. Nick Castellanos is the only name that's come to mind where they've hit 100% on. And I've been reading the chat. Mousecop, sorry. Mousecop got in my brain. Jeimer Candelario has lived up to what we thought he could be. And for that, he's going to get a B from me.
I'm going to give Candy a B-. I said in the offseason that Candelario is a question mark or a period in a lineup filled with question mark, and he's been that. He had a slow start, but he's been a professional hitter. He's been in the middle of the order, and he's earned that role. He's earned his paycheck. If I can't give Stuart Fairchild an A because he hasn't exceeded expectations, I can't give Jeimer Candelario anything higher than what he got because. It's a B for Candy just because he's been exactly what you expect him to be, if not a step below that.
Yes, that's fair.
A step below that. So that rounds out our position players. Now we go to the pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Midseason grades for the pitchers. And then first off, we're going to start off with Blister Boy, Nick Lodolo.
Yeah.
Nick Lodolo.
My number one concern of Nick Lodolo this season was that he was going to spend a lot of time on the IL. Unfortunately, that has happened. I mean, that is number one concern. Saying that, when he does play, he has been arguably the best pitcher on the Cincinnati Reds staff. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if these are actual injury stints or if they're just controlling Emmets to make sure he's able to go this entire season. I'm not in charge of that. I don't know about that, so whatever. 2 weeks for a blister, have it off. Based on what you've done this season, you've earned it. I'm going to give Nick Lodolo an A-. I think Nick Lodolo has been absolutely brilliant this season. The only knock on him is that he has had now 2 stints to the IL.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can't give him an A. I'm going to give him a B just because he's going to miss 4 starts now after this IL stint.
Yeah.
So if he can't get those innings up, it's going to be hard for him to ever truly be the ace of this team, ever truly be an A pitcher, an A-plus pitcher. But he certainly has the stuff for it, so I'm not going any further below a B. B+.
When it comes to Nick Lodolo, listen, when he's on the mound, he's phenomenal.
He's lights out.
Right.
He's Cy Young caliber, All-Star caliber, maybe not quite Cy Young caliber, but All-Star caliber southpaw. And he's been so good that you question if he's the ace of this team. The problem is that he does miss time due to injuries. He's going to miss 15 days. He's going to miss a couple of starts because of a blister, and that's okay. You want him to get healthy. You need a young guy like that to stay healthy. So you know what? I'll give him an A-. And the only thing that's holding him back is that he's missed the field. He's been absolutely fantastic when he's on the field. All right, now we're going to go to the other guy in the starting rotation.
Oh, yeah.
Hunter Green.
Pukey.
Pukey. I'm going to give Hunter Green an A+. And this is my first A+. Hunter Green has taken that next step this season. He's gone 6 innings, 7 innings, nearly every start. He had about a bad outing his last time because David Bell decided he liked what he saw when Hunter Green was puking all over the mound. He liked that. So Hunter Green went 4 innings, gave up another 3 in the third. But that's fine. Saying that, he's had roughly 3-4 bad starts this season. When I say bad starts, last year bad start for Hunter Green was like 6 earned runs and 3 innings of work. This year, he's still doing quality starts. He's going 6 innings and maybe sometimes giving up 4 earned runs, 5 earned runs. That's the very worst he can be. And obviously when he's puking and sick, then maybe he can be a little bit worse. Hunter Green has taken that next step. He's shut up most of the fan base, I'd say, regarding on how good of a pitcher he can be. He's been consistent. He's been ready. He's been healthy, available every single start this season. So, yeah, I'm all for Hunter Green. He's been the second most important player for the Cincinnati Reds this season outside of Elly De La Cruz. And I stand by that. Hunter Green's done a great job. If he can stay healthy this season, he's going to more than earn the title of ace for the Cincinnati Reds.
Hunter Green, A+ for me too, highest graded player on the Reds. I think if we did the whole roster, in my opinion, just because he's done everything we asked him to do.
Yes.
What Hunter Green's done this season would be like if Elly De La Cruz comes into next season and doesn't strike out.
Yeah.
I mean, the gripe for Hunter Green his entire career was he gets the strikeouts, he does whatever, but he allows home runs, and he comes out early in games. Well, he hasn't done either of those, at least for the most part this season. His 2 worst starts in recent memory, he threw up on the mound in a torrential downpour in Chicago. So asterisks on both of those. I think he's been nothing short of incredible. He's the ace of this team. I think bar none. I think he's A+ going away.
I give Hunter Green an A, and the only reason I'm doing that is out of respect for Ellie De La Cruz, and the reason is exactly what Jacob said, is that what has been the gripe about Hunter Green, doesn't go deep in the games, throws from the edge. Well, he's erased that from his game, and he's been fantastic. He has definitely become the Cincinnati Reds ace. He's out on the field more often than not, even when he has to puke. Apparently, he goes out there. And he just continues to be exactly what the Cincinnati Reds want, exactly what the Cincinnati Reds need. And that contract that everyone was worried about last year, said that he didn't deserve a contract extension. Well, he's already earned his pay keep. He's already earned that, at least for this season. So if he continues to do that, the Reds are going to come out like bandits on that deal. We'll go with the free agent signing starting pitcher, Frankie Montas. Montas.
C. C-. C. I'll go solid C. Middle of the road C. I think we were hoping, fingers crossed, that Frankie Montas could maybe emerge as the third starter on this team. Obviously, that hasn't been the case, but he's been a pretty solid fourth starter. He's serviceable. He's pretty much what you'd ask for out of Frankie Montas signing. I don't think anything more than this would have been icing on the cake, I think. And he's been serviceable and he's been out there. So obviously that comebacker made him miss a start earlier in the year, but he's been out there. He's pitched, I think, 14 games so far this year, so that's being available, and I think it's pretty solid outing. So I'm going to go solid C for Frankie.
If you look up the definition of meh, you're going to see a picture of Frankie Montas. I don't think any Reds fan thought he was going to be the ace. I might have said something similar like that to start opening day, but saying that, he's been fine. He's been available, and that's the biggest compliment I can give somebody on this current Reds team, is that you're available to play baseball, and when you are, you're going to get a fine grade by me. It's a C.
Yeah, I'm going to give him C+ because he's just been okay. He's been fine.
He hasn't been bad.
You expect him. You probably would have expected him to be better. He hasn't probably met expectations here in the city. I remember, I think it was Trace talking about, this is a guy that's won Cy Young votes. This is a guy that should be the opening day starter. This is a guy that has to be an ace. He's certainly not that, but he is fine. Like, he's a big league pitcher. That's exactly what you signed him to be. You signed him to be a period in a rotation full of question marks. And Frankie Montas, when he comes out there, you're going to get a professional pitching performance from him. And that's what he's given. So I'll give him a C+. You expect more from him, but he is what he is. We're going to go with one relief pitcher, and it's Alexis Diaz.
Higher. Don't say C. 10 saves in a row.
B-. C+. I'm very sorry to say it. C+. I'm very sorry. I still get concerned when Alexis Diaz comes into the game. I'm allowed to still have concerns, and when I still have concerns with my closer coming into baseball games, you're not going to get a B from me. He's had an okay season as of lately. He started off rough. He's still always capable of that blow-up game, and that's what I'm concerned about. He walks a ton of batters. I don't know how many games he's walked a guy in, but it seems like more than not. Alexis Diaz. Do I think Alexis Diaz will be the closer of the future? Probably not. Maybe is where I'm at. I think Fernando Cruz has been the best reliever this season. Alexis Diaz has taken a step back from where he was at the midway point last season.
Yeah, I'm going to give Alexis Diaz a B. I think Alexis Diaz, after that first month of the season, is really leveled out. He's 10 converted saves in a row. He looked pretty good yesterday. Obviously not a save opportunity, but looked pretty good yesterday. I think I'm going to give him a B. I still have the utmost hope that he's going to be the closer of the future. I think he will be. I think if you're banking on a 34-year-old who's been in the MLB for 2 years to be your closer of the future with a young core, you're in trouble. So I'm going to keep all the eggs in the Alexis Diaz basket. I'm going to give him a B.
B-. Yeah, I think he's certainly a closer that you should feel confident about when he gets in the game. I think that's where a lot of frustration has come, is because your confidence has waned in him, because he does give up a base runner here and there, does walk guys. I think he has 5 walks in 9 innings this month. He's given up 3 or 4 hits this month in June, but he has been converting saves when you expect him. That's his job. That's his role, is to finish the game. And except for three times, he's done that. And that's exactly what you expect from a guy that has been, I guess the closer of this team. I'm trying to look for a better synonym or analogy for him, but I don't have one right now. He's been a B. He's been fine. He's going to continue to be good. And the best part is you've probably seen the worst of him, and I truly believe that you probably have seen the worst of him this year. He's going to blow a couple more saves, but more often than not, he's going to be better than what he has been, and that's Alexis Diaz. Final guy on this is David Bell. We doing David Bell today?
I love it because I'm passing David Bell. Barely. 71.
He gets
C.
He gets an NA. Not applicable. Not applicable. You know why? Because if the team's hurt and the roster that he thought he had was never here to start with, it's hard to give him an actual grade this season. He's been fine. He's been meh. He's not a good manager. He's not a bad manager. He's a meh. He is a meh nothing that manages this team because the Castellinis don't want to find anybody better. So that's who we have as our manager. It's not going to change anytime soon. I'm very sorry to say, unless they win 60 games this year, he's going to be the manager most likely next year. There's a chance he gets fired, but I doubt it after an extension and the Castellinis liking to keep their money. So saying that, he gets an NA from me, not applicable. It's not his fault this season.
I'm passing him. I'm giving him a C to keep this team afloat with the the crop of players we've talked about here. We talk about how there's a minor league roster every single day, and this team's in the wild card hunt. So I think he deserves credit for that. I'm giving him a C. Maybe it should be higher.
Let's make something very clear. He hasn't kept the Cincinnati Reds afloat in the wild card race. The National League has kept the Cincinnati
right.
Reds afloat in the wild card race, where it seems more and more likely that a team that might go under 500 will make the postseason. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. David Bell gets a C. Yeah, I mean, I give him probably the most flack here in the office out of everyone because I refuse to believe that managers just simply don't matter. I refuse to accept that notion. And if we continue to have questions, if we continue to come in here every day and question a decision, or if you get on Reds Twitter and they're questioning a decision, then there's probably a fire where you see smoke. I'll give him a C because he hasn't been terrible, but he's just David Bell.
He's David Bell. You're not going to get. You know what you have with David Bell. Meh. Him lying about CES and those injuries. Again, asterisk, not lying. Bad. But not applicable.
That's it. That was it.
And that is our show. ESPN 1410, Wing AM. The Reds are playing tonight right here on this radio station. We have Kinner and Kev up next. Tune in for that. Thank you very much for listening on your radio or in your car. Have a great Thursday. Thirsty Thursday. Have a great Thirsty Thursday. We're out. And we're back. Boom. AJ said he was yawning during that segment. AJ, buddy, listen, if you want me to do something
I thought that
silly,
segment was great.
I thought it was great too.
I thought that was a fun
I
segment.
like that. So AJ, you want me to do a standing backflip? I'll attempt one right now.
Do you think you can do one?
Oh yeah. When you think of me, the first thing you think of is that guy can do a standing backflip.
I actually, the first time I met you, holy cow, he's in Hey Dudes. I think he could definitely do a standing backflip.
My
You're
wife
in another hoodie in mid-July. Oh my God.
standing backflip.
My wife, Mariana, went over to her sister's house yesterday because they just got a trampoline and they were playing with her nephew. And she called me to tell me that she could still do a backflip on the trampoline.
Nice.
And I sat there like quiet for like 2 seconds and she goes, I still got it, Reed. And I was like, I guess you do. Never lost it.
Congratulations,
Never lost
Mariana.
it, man. Yep.
Should I bring back the pie? I think that's what this chat needs. You remember the pie that you're
gonna break someone else's nose, Reed?
when you slammed it in my face?
I
I think I should, because I did that, I think, my second week of work. And I brought that in as a bit because I'm the bit king. And I'll tell you right now, I will do it again for the same deal I used to do it for. I'll do it for 100 likes on the stream. I'll bring it in next. I'll bring a pie in next week. And if we get 100 likes on any of those streams, I will take another pie to the face.
Company man.
People
I am
are
a
telling
company
me, Jacob has informed me that I'm very mean to everyone in the room. He makes it very well known that I'm very mean to Jimmy, to Elliot. He says I'm not mean to Casey, so at least I got one winner. And then he doesn't trust.
Didn't you make Casey come in yesterday?
You did.
That's right. And then he says that he doesn't trust my niceness to him because I'm mean to everybody else. So there's something underneath
afoot.
I don't think I'm mean. But then I think about all the mean things that I've done, like bust a frozen pie over Brandon Sejo's face. That was tough. So maybe I am just a bad human being, and I'm sorry for all my transgressions and the history of this show and just the history of my life. I guess.
I forgive you.
Thank you.
I forgive you.
Do we want to talk about the UC topic?
I think we should at least bring it up.
Do you have the tweet?
I have the tweet.
Do you have the tweet?
I have it as well, Jacob.
All right. If you guys want to get the tweet,
Do you want to read it? It's your program.
because I think there's a take in here.
I'll read the first part of it, the what they were quote tweeting. You can read the second part.
Okay.
So Cincinnati was final Learfield Directors Cup, whatever the hell that means.
It's all NCAA sports, all NCAA sanctioned sports together. The winner had the best all sports season in college football. It's not just Power 5, it's all teams. Final
Learfield Directors Cup all sports list. All Power 5 schools are in the top 100 except for one, Cincinnati. So all Power 5 teams are in the top 100. Cincinnati is at 259th.
Not great.
What was the second part?
Additionally, Cincinnati was the only Power 5 school to miss the postseason in every major team sport. Baseball was the only team on the campus to finish its inaugural Big 12 season over 500 in conference play.
Woo!
So distantly, the worst Power 5 team.
John Cunningham became the athletic director, I believe, in 2019. So we're working on 5 years. And I know that UC just entered the Power 5, but so did a lot of teams. At what point is John Cunningham's on the chopping block?
John Cunningham did get the Bearcats to the Big 12, if there's any positive. Taking that
Is
jump.
he the one that signed Fickle?
Yes.
That's going to give him at least 5 more years.
Wait, no,
he came in
wasn't.
2019. He didn't sign
No,
Fickle.
he signed Wes Miller. Sorry,
Oh,
he signed
okay.
Wes
He
Miller.
signed Wes
Well,
Miller
which hasn't
and
been
John
great.
Brannon. He signed 2 basketball coaches.
Wow.
Neither have made the tournament.
Speaking of Cincinnati, they will host Arizona and Kansas next season, 3rd.
Make or break year for Wes Miller for sure. No,
I think
with
so.
this roster.
I think so. Yeah, to not make the tournament with that would be crucial. But yeah,
and then if he fails, then bye AD, right?
he's one really bad season from Wes Miller.
Well,
away.
he got a lot of credit for getting UC into the Big 12. But he's had some big hires that he's had to do. The basketball team twice, the football team once. And he also gets credit for being the athletic director when UC made the college football playoff and all these things. But when he's actually had to do his job in hiring guys, it's not gone well. I'm just asking, at what point do we start wondering if John Cunningham's right for this job?
It's a good question.
Because I think it's next year.
I don't think he's done a very good job outside of bringing the Bearcats to, of course, the Big 12. But
How much of that is him, and how much of that is Luke Fickell getting one team to one playoff?
yeah, if you want me to slander UC, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to do it. But here's what I'll say: 259th on the list, where everybody else is top 100.
Xavier was 186, by the way.
That's the worst I've ever heard. So tough. UC needs to improve in a lot next season. Hopefully they will. I think they will.
I love how Big East isn't considered
Power 5.
not Power 5
Yeah.
when they're the one sport that they care about. They are very much
They're the best.
they're the best. That is fun. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to know because based off year one, I'm willing to be wrong about Scott Satterfield, but it's not looking good considering the program he left had their best year in a decade.
I wonder how long.
And the program that he took over had their worst year in the decade. Wes Miller, who everyone has high praise for, and I think that it's maybe somewhat warranted. Haven't seen the fruits of that labor yet. John Brannon, but UC's preseason ranked 25, right?
Here's the thing: Wes Miller is
in basketball.
Wes Miller's having a make or break season, as Jacob said. With the talent they have, there's really no reason they shouldn't be competing for the tournament. They should be in the tournament. That's just a fact. The football team, I know it's the Big 12, but at the same time, you have Scott Satterfield. The roster's completely wiped. So that means nothing to me. I hate to say that right now. I've never been a big University of Cincinnati football fan, just because in the years past I knew how the top 4 teams were selected or the top 2 teams were selected, and I never thought UC would have ever had a real chance at that. Luke Fickell changed that, put UC in the playoff, which is obviously a historic thing that happened. We're the only team ever to be a non-Power 5 team to reach the college football playoff semifinals. Saying all that, I'm not going to be a believer in Scott Satterfield. Scott Satterfield has, 2 years to prove this? 3 years maybe? And I have any expectation for him whatsoever. I think John Brandon, all his eggs are in that basket over there at Fifth Third Arena. All of them. And if they're bad this year, I don't know how many times you can keep running this back. Because I think, they're at 6 years in a row now, or 7? Basketball team, one of those two. And it's
Since 2018, Xavier and UC has made the tournament one time.
It's fair.
2019. Yeah. UC would have made it COVID, more than likely.
Xavier made it last year.
I don't know.
Xavier made that's the one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one.
UC would have made it during COVID, yes.
But they didn't.
But they did.
Right.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with all
Is that the line for this UC season? Make the tournament?
Yes.
If they make the tournament, that's
Fair.
That's
Just
a
wondering.
successful team. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the
10
more
seed, 9 or 10
and more
seed,
you
10.
see this, you got to wonder. John Cunningham, who at one point got a lot of praise in this town, how safe his job is, and I think it's more than fair to criticize the job that he's done, and more than fair to say that out of everyone on payroll at University of Cincinnati and the athletic department, his name has got to be at the top of the chopping block.
If you're more than 150 places behind the next Power 5 school, then there's obviously a problem somewhere.
Right. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I agree. That's it. Bearcats. By the Bearcats. I'll put my hat in this little circle here. The Bearcats basketball team. This will be the best season we've had since the year we lost to Nevada. I don't know what year that was. I forget what year. 2017, I believe. 2016, 2017. It'll be the best season since that year.
Who in this city will have the best season sports-wise? Because it seems like Bengals are the favorite to do that. FCC still second in the table, and UC basketball
Top 25.
presumably going to be top 25 to start the season. Who has the best one calendar year from right now? Who has the best season?
I mean, I'm going to hope the Bengals. Because the line for UC is to make the tournament. The line for the Bengals is to win a Super Bowl. So,
Line for FCC is probably to
win a
make the championship. I think it's make the championship.
see, I didn't. We've gone all show.
The line for the Bengals is actually
We've gone all show without hating on FCC. If they make the championship, it doesn't change my life one bit.
right. Well,
I'm not even a
put it this
UC
way.
fan. If UC makes the tournament, that changes my life.
What's the line for
a
Bengals?
weekend?
What's the line for Bengals?
Make the AFC championship?
I think it's win a playoff game.
I think
I think they get back to the
way,
division.
I think if
dude.
you
I think
and
if you get back to the divisional round.
I don't disagree, but that's heavily dependent on how you lose the second round.
That's true.
If you lose the second round
cap-
at home to the 6th seed,
if you
It-
pull
it's
if
not.
you pull a Texans and win your wild
Right.
card round, then lose by 40 in the second round,
or if
then,
the Ravens win this division, Bengals get in as the wild card, you win the first round, you lose to Mahomes in the second round.
fine.
I'm not going to get beat up about that.
Right.
If you win the division,
Well,
you're
you'll
the
get
2
beat
seed.
up, but it's right that
It won't.
You lose to Mahomes, you
right.
lose to Mahomes.
It's the same as losing to them in the AFC Championship to me. It's,
Right.
That's the guy you have to get through. If we lose to, it'll hurt, but it's fine. If you lose to a team that you should beat,
I guess
there's
you're
no
right.
excuse for that. For the
I guess
Bengals.
you're right. If they make the divisional round, they get to the divisional round. I'll even give the caveat: if they lose to the Ravens, I'm not going to crucify the Bengals for that season because I think the Ravens are dang
If
good.
it's
going to hurt
somehow
more.
an 0 for 3 against the Ravens, I would.
Okay.
You see
Okay.
what I mean?
My answer is Bengals.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be.
Okay. It's fair enough. It's fun to talk about the lines. And then the Reds line, which was make the postseason before the year, is quickly becoming
The Reds line is talk about the postseason in September.
Can we talk about that real quick? I know I don't want to be too negative, but next year, I mean, if it goes poorly again, I'll give you two options. If they're unhealthy next season, very, very concerned. If they're bad with the roster that Nick Kroll has constructed and they're all healthy, Matt McClain, Ellie, yada yada yada, if they're all ready to go and they're still winning 75 games, we got a serious problem. We got a serious problem.
So I've said this before, and I do this with as serious as I can make this. I believe in the process in which the Cincinnati Reds have to follow to be a competitor, to be a contender, which is develop young talent, and then when it becomes time, they've got to sign the right guys. They've got to use their money wisely and sign the right guys. That's the only equation because they are playing against a stacked deck. That's the only equation that works. If this current iteration of the Cincinnati Reds does not work, and I have strong belief that it will work. I have strong belief that the Cincinnati Reds will be better than any point in our lifetime. Maybe not 97 wins 2012, but I do believe they will make the postseason at a semi-regular basis with this current core. If they don't get to there, this city this fan base will lose trust in anything that they are sold.
Yeah, because
Anything that they are told to believe in, the trust is gone.
we've now seen the go sign big names that have produced elsewhere and try to win right away. And then now we've seen wait for all the prospects to come up and see if they work. If both of those don't work, if this crop of prospects for the Reds doesn't work, there's nothing to be hopeful for anymore. You're not going to find another Elliot De La Cruz. You're not going to find another Noelvi Marte. It's just brutal.
Yeah, I'm out of hope. If they're bad next year, I'm out. I'm out of hope. I'm out of trust. I'm out of faith. At some point, in, 17th year of their ownership, can you find one way? There's 7 teams that make the playoffs in the NL. And not every team in the wild card race in the playoffs at this very moment are above 500, and we're still not close.
6 teams make the playoffs.
6 teams. Sorry, NFL. This is, and again, the Castellinis have taken a break from the vitriol that the fan base has spewed at them the season coming into last season. They've had a little bit of a break because of Elliot De La Cruz. This season's not working. It's not going to work. You have no hope. There is no playoffs this year. I'm very sorry to break that to anybody who watches this team every night. There's 0% chance. 0.
And that's part of why I keep saying sell. It's like if you can put anything more to support next year, I think you almost have to do it now because this year's done.
I don't think this year. It's not done.
It's Reed.
It's not done.
Reed, look at the
What's
lineup,
the goal?
brother.
What's the goal?
Nick Martini,
what's
Santiago
not
Espinal.
It's the same thing that we just talked about. It's the same thing we just talked about when you said David Bell has kept postseason hopes alive. No, he hasn't. The National League has done that.
Yeah,
it doesn't take much to
I
get back
don't
in this
have
thing.
postseason hopes.
It doesn't take much to get right back in this thing. That's all I'll say.
It
takes
one 12-game win streak.
It takes one 7-game win streak and then match it with losing 10 of 15. That's who they are. And they're playing not great teams right now, and they're still struggling. So I can't help them anymore. I'm here. I try to be positive, but it just breaks me down. And we are at June 27th, and unless they go on, the only way I'm back is if they go 8-2 or 7-3 in that 10-game stretch right before the All-Star break. That's it.
We got to be within a handful of games to 500 at the All-Star break.
Yep.
Under 5 games to 500 at the All-Star break.
That'll keep me alive.
Keeps me engaged. And Noelvi has to play well.
By the way, correction. I believe we said that the Mariners are bad earlier in the show. They're 9 games over 500 first in the American League West. But they do have the worst batting average
Oh, really?
in the major leagues.
Their pitching's been incredible.
The Reds have the 4th worst batting average in the major leagues. The Pirates have the 5th worst. The Cubs have the 6th worst.
How about that?
What about that? We're just all bunched up together, giving each other a little smooch, just a little kiss on the cheek.
The NL Central is such a joke.
The NL Central.
And the Reds being uncompetitive in the division is an even bigger joke. The Pirates aren't like the Pirates own us. The Milwaukee Brewers own the Cincinnati Reds. Every team I think owns us still, except for somehow the Chicago Cubs.
Not giving up on them.
That's the only team that the Reds have a chance
Not
against
giving
in this
up on
division. I think this series is going to be a disaster. A disaster.
Cardinals.
The Cardinals couldn't be hotter.
Shout out to the Reds for winning this series. Everything we say on this show just.
Yeah, but you
flips.
just said they're going to win now, so now
Oh, we're back.
We're getting swept.
We're getting back.
if they get 4 games swept, it's over, and there's nothing.
It's over.
It's over. What song should I sing if they win?
I don't know. It's your bit.
I know. I got to think of a silly song. It's Raining Men. Would that be a funny one?
Well, that's the Reds lineup.
Yeah, we can do that one. It's Raining Men if the Reds win this series against the St. Louis Cardinals. But they're not going to, so.
I mean, not at all. Like, no chance.
The only way, truthfully, the only way it happens
Hunter
is
Green,
if-
Andrew Abbott, no hitter.
Yeah, it's you'd have to shut them out. The offense isn't good. I mean, the offense is dead, so. We have Jamir Candelario, Jake Fraley hurt, no Matt McClain. No Noelvi Marte's hitting $110 in AAA. with no walks. And we've got 7 AAA players. So we'll see. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Come on in. Enjoy the ride.
Do they win tonight?
Tonight's one of their only chances. They win.
They have to.
They
Yes,
always
they're
win.
going to win tonight. It's game 1 of the
They
series.
always win the first
They
one.
win the first game of the series. Yep, I'll
And
bet
then
on
they'll
that.
lose the next 3. We'll come in tomorrow, have a positive Reds show, and then we'll
right.
come out of the weekend crying again.
Does Miles Mikolas, does he get meatball?
Is it Mikolas or Mikolas? I call him
I thought it was
Mikolas.
Michaelis.
Michaelis.
Mikolas.
We're all wrong.
Whoa.
He does throw meatballs.
Two of us are right.
2 of us are right.
Meatball.
Meatball Mikolas.
Mikolas.
Michaelis.
I thought we were on the bit. All right, that's a win. Congratulations to the Cincinnati Reds for winning Game 1 tonight.
Jimmy, what did you learn today on the show?
That I might be a little sicker than I thought I was.
What?
I might be sick.
Oh, you might be sick.
Yeah.
Casey, what did you learn today? Casey, by the way, that Herb Brooks speech, I'm going to clip that later. That's great.
Oh, yeah, that's
That
good.
was
That's going on
phenomenal.
all socials.
I can't wait to retweet that. Can't wait. I
Twitter's
learned-
been great.
You sound so excited.
I learned that I might have gave Jimmy some sickness.
I also learned how to pronounce the #1 overall draft pick's name.
Say it.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
Richasse.
Richasse.
Zachary Richasse?
Boom.
Ask me what I learned today.
Hey, Reed, what did you learn?
I learned that I'm the only one that gave Ellie De La Cruz an A+ because I'm a good Reds fan. That's what I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that the University of Cincinnati is going to be all the way back next season based on the last season's effort.
I learned that 2 of the 5 people in this room right now are dying. So, not a great ratio.
Love that. Love that. Casey, one more time. Can we put the camera on the desk as we tease? As we do tease, who's it gonna be?
No one knows.
We are excited.
Not him.
On camera. We are excited to bring you guys a new iteration of Chatterbox Sports off the bench. It's gonna start Monday. We're working on the intro today. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be over at this desk?
I
over
don't
here?
know, Reader.
That voice developed in real time.
It just kept going.
It just kept going. And
I
this
don't
is
know. I
this is
don't
what we're
know.
gonna be. Who's gonna be the
Who's
host
it
of
gonna
Off the
be?
Bench on Monday?
Who's it gonna
Tune in to
be?
find out
I whoop,
tomorrow.
I whoop, whoop.
See you guys.
I whoop, whoop. I whoop,
Peace.
I whoop. I whoop, whoop. I whoop.